Sunny skies and then partly cloudy tonight, lows in the upper 60s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and hot, highs in the low 90s. You're listening to Resistance Radio.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
TGIF, Dominic.
Hey, Crudy.
Welcome to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, and this one, a big one. Friday Fight Club, going to have a dim gubernatorial debate in the next hour. Kelda Royce, Mike McCabe, also Senator Lena Taylor joining us today. But Dom, right from the top, we got a fine big city journalist. He is Kenneth Vogel from the New York Times. He joins us right now from the top, live via phone. Kenneth Vogel, welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, sir.
Hey, great to be with you guys.
Hey, thanks,
Hey, Ken, thank you so much for joining us. Before we get into some of the reporting you contributed to yesterday, the Donald Trump lawsuit, I got to ask you, I saw you tweeting about it. Manafort, go directly to jail. Do not pass go. Ken, any thoughts you have on that topic?
Yeah, absolutely. This really turns up the heat on a critical figure, perhaps the pivotal figure, the biggest fish certainly that Mueller has hooked thus far in the investigation into Russian meddling in the 2016 presidential election, with Mueller's team raising the question about what he could potentially bring to the table in terms of cooperation, whether he has anything that he could deliver on the biggest fish. Obviously, Donald Trump himself and some of the core people around him, his family. You know, Manafort's supporters say that this is not, the prosecution of him is not really directly related to Russian meddling in the investigation. In the election, they tried to make the case that the prosecution of Manafort was an example of Mueller overstepping his remit, his charge, and as such, the case should be dismissed. Here you have the judge not only rejecting that argument, but saying that Manafort was careless and actually violated the terms of his pretrial release by trying to tamper with witnesses who might be used to build the case against him in court. And the judge accepting the argument that his outreach to these former associates was in fact tampering, that constituted a violation of the terms of his release, and as such, thrown in jail, really increasing the incentive on him potentially to give the prosecutors something before his trial, which is that he has two trials that he's facing, the first of which is in about a month and a half, late July, in the Eastern District of Virginia, where he lives, in Northern Virginia outside of D.C., and then the second one being the big one in Washington, D.C., the sort of Mueller investigation, and that is set for October, so he could potentially be in jail until then, until October, and possibly through the trial, which could last as much as a month.
And theoretically, for the rest of his natural life, Ken. I also see Michael Cohen, the fixer for the president. Apparently, it's being reported, CNN elsewhere as well, I suspect, being reported Cohen on the verge of flipping, doesn't like the way Trump's treating him, feels very isolated. Ken, it's going to get very interesting from here forward, I suspect. How quickly do you think the public becomes aware whether or not Michael Cohen has flipped?
We could learn that pretty quickly. The prosecutors might find. You know, what's so interesting about Cohen is there actually have not even been charges filed against him yet. So that might complicate the ability of the public to find out about whether he's flipped, because there's nothing that prosecutors have filed that they would seek to amend, which is what typically happens when you see someone who has been charged with something, and the prosecutors are already pursuing a case and filing charges, and then if there's the person has flipped, so to speak, they'll file a plea in which the person is accepting some charges and having some others dismissed, and that's when you know that there's cooperation. Sometimes it does happen in one fell swoop. We certainly saw that with a few of the folks in the Mueller investigation, including this Alex van der Zwaan guy, a Dutch lawyer who was working for the international firm Skadden Arps with Manafort on a report into the prosecution of Yulia Tymoshenko, the Ukrainian leader who had made the mistake of crossing Manafort's client in Ukraine, Viktor Yanukovych, the strongman president, who then prosecuted her and really drew the condemnation from the international community. Well, Manafort got Skadden Arps to do this report saying, oh, no, the prosecution of her was totally valid and wasn't politically motivated, and Mueller's team went after at least some of the folks at Skadden Arps and got one of them to plead to lying to the FBI, and we still don't know what that person, Alex van der Zwaan, ended up giving Mueller in exchange, and that's sort of the puzzle and the mystery of all this, is figuring out who is giving what. But certainly Michael Cohen is someone who could have a lot of stuff to give potentially, unlike maybe Manafort, whose people say he has nothing to give on Trump, and even if he did, he wouldn't give it.
Ken Vogel, apparently Giuliani talking to the Daily Post, he's out there threatening at this hour to end the Mueller investigation with pardons. Ken, I know it calls for speculation, but what do you think the likelihood that Trump starts dropping pardons, if not this weekend, then very soon?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly possible. You don't need charges to even have been filed. You don't need. You need charges to have been filed, but you don't need a conviction to drop a pardon. So, for instance, in the case of Manafort, people are saying, "Oh, well, we don't even know if he's guilty or not, and we'll see. What the jury comes back with." But that's not even necessary legally. In fact, Trump could pardon Manafort right now and end that case. I think that would potentially be where we might get into the category of things that even Republicans might find to have crossed the line, and maybe start hearing louder talk about the possibility of impeachment.
Folks, you're listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on WRRD 1510 AM, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Ken Vogel, he's a reporter from the New York Times and a Wisconsinite, joins us on the phone. All right, Ken, I want to get to your piece you contributed to in the New York Times yesterday. The Donald J. Trump Foundation has a lawsuit filed against them from the New York State Attorney General's office. What is the big picture here? What's the big issue, if you would, please?
Yeah, there are a number of issues, but they basically have to do with violations of New York State charities laws, federal campaign finance laws, and federal tax laws. So the implications, they're not. The foundation was already in the process of being dissolved, so it's not like it's going to be a big deal. Putting this foundation out of business, so to speak. It's already headed that way anyway, and the implications in the New York case, what the New York Attorney General is seeking are to ban the people involved with the foundation from being involved with other charities in the future going forward. I don't know that is necessarily has huge ramifications on Trump or the Trump family. Where you could potentially see the broader ramifications are in the referrals that the New York State Attorney General has made to the Federal Election Commission and the Internal Revenue Service, and possibly even the Department of Justice, saying that these violations of election laws and tax laws bear further investigation. And if either of those agencies opens an investigation, we could potentially see maybe even criminal violations, because the allegation here is that these violations were knowing and willful, which is what you need to sort of get over the line from like misdemeanor charges to criminal charges.
Ken, Trump tweeted out, you posted in your article, the foundation took in $18.8 million, paid out $19.2 million. Is that any sort of defense?
No, I mean the laws are the laws, and this is an effort to sort of contrast his charitable giving, which has been under scrutiny, I think rightfully so, both because it's not as great as he says it is, not as great in terms of how much money he's donating, and also because much of the money is not actually his. In this case, all this money was raised from other, from outside donors, through this veterans charitable fundraiser held during the campaign. But what Trump is trying to say is that this is, I'm actually giving away this money. The Clinton Foundation, remember them? They're the ones who spend a lot of money on overhead and don't actually give away as much as they say that they give.
Kenneth Vogel, know you're a busy reporter from the New York Times, a friend of ours. Thank you so much for the time you've given us today, Ken.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
All right, thanks, Ken.
Folks, we are the Devil's Advocates. I could talk to Ken Vogel all day.
No,
time does not permit, because we got a really big show. Lena Taylor's coming next. Little time between now and then, though. 844-967-2789. You can contribute. It's Friday. We air grievances. And then coming up in the 4 to 5 hour, we've got Dem Fight Club. First rule is we do talk about Dem Fight Club. Mike McCabe against Kelda. They're coming down to Brady Street. We're going to pit them head to head. What's it going to look like? We're not going to tell. You're just going to have to tune in and listen. More of us, Devil's Advocates, Resistance Radio. We'll be right back.
What are you waiting for? It's time to join the union. I'm Andy Buck, field representative with the Painters and Allied Trades District Council 7 of Wisconsin. You're already doing the work. You deserve to make a fair wage. You work hard, but your body isn't going to last forever. Cash feels great in your hand, but having health insurance, a safe workplace, and a secure retirement gives you peace of mind. Join the union and make your job your career. Look us up online, Painters and Allied Trades of Wisconsin. If you're a painter, glazer, drywall finisher, start getting paid like it. Join the union.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call the number on a for sale sign?
Great questions. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you a home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust. Your agent will best find the home that fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from offer through closing day. And most home listing contracts stipulate that the seller's agent pays for the buyer's commission.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty, 608-284-9311, or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
You're not wired to have a response to this sound. But when we introduce a new stimulus, save the food. We're helping to stop food waste. Save the food. For tips and recipes, visit savethefood.com. Brought to you by NRDC and the Ad Council.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at zeroresmadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
Hi, I'm Becky from Bounce Milwaukee, and I want to be the first to invite you to our newest attraction, axe throwing at Fling Milwaukee. Bring your friends, date, co-workers, or family to experience the rush of throwing axes at Milwaukee's first indoor throwing arena. Open 6 days a week for corporate team building, bachelor and bachelorette parties, date night, or just a fun night out. More information at flingmilwaukee.com or 414-312-4357.
Scott Walker thinks Wisconsin should once again hire him as governor.
You wouldn't hire me to be a neurosurgeon.
This is a person who has not worked in the private sector since 1993.
You wouldn't hire me to run condos. You wouldn't hire me to run HP.
And has made his political career.
You probably wouldn't hire me to run the United States Senate.
By using divisive tactics to the benefit of his corporate donors.
First step is we're going to deal with collective bargaining for all public employee unions. Because you divide and conquer.
Now he supports the largest publicly funded government subsidy of a foreign corporation in American history.
You know, they can go suck lemons.
And Scott Walker has yet to live up to his first campaign promise to create 250,000 jobs.
Is this a campaign promise, something you want to be held to?
Absolutely. Scott Walker, we the people are done sucking your lemons. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Hey everybody, I'm Daryl Ingram of News Talk 1510 WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, and I am the Director of Advertising and Marketing. The pride of our independent stands runs deep in all that we do here at the station. The thing that I know for sure is that you can count on the quality and independent production of client advertising, mirroring the quality and independence of our fine programming here at News Talk 1510. To learn more, contact me at 414-335-0851 or via email at daryl@newstalk1510am.com.
Wreaking havoc on America, just like they wreaked havoc on Wisconsin. Dom and Krutz are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Also streaming on Facebook and YouTube pages, on Twitter at Devil Radio. And you can contribute, air your grievances on Friday. Talk or text the party line, 844-967-2789.
Dominic, nothing but the most dynamic radio, the most relevant radio. It's played right here. Thank you to our friend Kenneth Vogel, a fine reporter with the New York Times. A busy man. Apparently a little breaking news happening today. Have you seen the Fourth Estate yet? Showtime show about the New York Times?
I have not.
Specifically, they've concentrated lots of efforts on the Washington Bureau. That's where our friend Kenneth Vogel finds himself stationed. Theoretically, we could be on the Fourth Estate. They could be, videotaping Kenneth Vogel talking to us about today's fine show. We'll have to tune in, in the future.
Fourth Estate, or as Trump would put it,
crooked media.
Fake news.
Thank you, Ken Vogel. Coming soon, Wisconsin State Senator Lena Taylor, also a friend of ours. And, of course, Dem Fight Club in the 4 o'clock hour. Kelda Royce, Mike McCabe joining us on Brady Street. The Wisconsin's Choice Final Four. We got 2 of them today, 2 of them next Tuesday. Kathleen Feinhout, Malin Mitchell coming in studio on Tuesday, June 19th. Juneteenth, if you will. Dom, that event, 3-2-4. We got the entire Final Four of the Wisconsin's Choice candidates. And then brand new Marquette University Law School poll next Wednesday, June 20th. Charles Franklin, our good friend, joins us in the happy hour, and we'll reshuffle the deck and do it all again.
Curdy, the president went out on the lawn today and had a little tangent, little presser, I guess you could call it, responding to, of course, all these reports and issues going on that are buzzing all about him.
I understand the theme of today's presser. Respect my authority!
Right. Let's get to a little bit of sound while we have some time here. Trump, hey, he beat the Clinton and Bush dynasties and even the crooked FBI. Let's play cut 81, please.
I beat Clinton dynasty. Right. I beat Bush dynasty. And now, I guess, hopefully I'm in the process of beating very dishonest intelligence.
Yeah, you know what, though? I don't think you're going to beat Mueller. But, we'll have to just wait and see. But, hell, this IG report, what does he think about it, Keith 82?
The IG report totally exonerates. I mean, if you look at the results and if you look at the head investigator is saying we have to stop Trump from becoming president. Well, Trump became president. We have the best economy today we've ever had.
Exonerates? You're not exonerated.
Come on, Hillary was totally exonerated.
Let's keep going. Trump on Comey 83.
James Comey was unfair to the people of this country. I think what he did was a disgrace. I think he goes down as the worst FBI director in history by far. There's nobody close.
I don't know if I would disagree. I mean, he really threw it to Trump after really sticking it to Hillary. I think that is going to be the takeaway from all of this. But hell, did you know? He's exonerated.
The report yesterday, maybe more importantly than anything, it totally exonerates me. There was no collusion. There was no obstruction.
What? The report wasn't about your Russian collusion and your obstruction. The report was about the investigation to Hillary Clinton's emails and the results of that report and how the FBI acted during that investigation.
Hillary's emails is the exact reason Trump fired James Comey. Isn't that what he told Lester Holt and a couple Sergies?
No, actually, I heard him tell Lester Holt it was the Russians. Also refers to one of the FBI agents, cut 85.
I am amazed that Peter Strzok is still at the FBI. And so is everybody else that read that report. And I'm not even talking about the report. I'm talking about long before the report. Peter Strzok should have been fired a long time ago.
And you should be impeached, sir.
I totally agree with you, Michael. But here's the one. And I'm going to bitch about this one for a long, long time. We know Trump has his new best friend, Kim Jong-un. Yes, those guys are tight. Man, Trump can't help himself. He loves the strong man. Let's play cut 12 for the people, if you would, please.
Hey, he's the head of a country, and I mean, he is the strong head. Don't let anyone think anything different. Right. He speaks and his people sit up at attention. I want my people to do the same.
What?
I would like the very same of my subordinates here at the station.
Hey, Trump.
Fuck you.
Say it again.
Fuck you.
Yes. F you, Trump. Are you kidding me? Wait. He retracted later and said, I was just kidding. I didn't really mean that. You don't understand sarcasm.
I wasn't kidding. I'd like a little more respect around here.
13.
Fuck you.
That's what you get. I mean, this is supposed to be the leader of the free world. Now, we know he has these dictatorial tendencies, but for him to actually compliment, talk about compliment, fillet this guy, and just loves how he runs his country, a strong guy. You know why they stand up? Because if they don't, they get shot.
Fuck you.
Yes, Trump, I would never. You gotta be kidding me for you to stand up and say that you want the American people to respond to you like Kim Jong-un's people respond to him when he walks by under the threat of death? But he was just kidding, Curdy.
What do you really think down there?
I'm just stunned, and all of the Republicans out there, please. Let me know what you think. Do you like this? Is that what you want? Is that small government? Is that individual freedom? GOP? Republicans? What a friggin' joke.
I order all conservatives to stand up and call and dial the phones right now. 844-967-2789. That's 844-96-PARTY. Well, maybe not right quite yet. Got Lena Taylor, a fine Wisconsin State Senator, joining us next live via phone. Come back with us. We are the Devil's Advocates. Dom, a little crabby, probably hung over after his birthday.
Oh, wait till tomorrow.
Have a good one. No, we're not done yet. We'll be right back.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke. I couldn't speak or walk.
This is high blood pressure. Get back on your plan. Go to loweryourhbp.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
Live via phone, he is former U.S. Attorney Jim Santel.
Firing Bob Mueller doesn't mean that the prosecution, the investigation goes away. Pardoning one individual does not mean that you undo everything that has been done before. So this notion that somehow by shutting down and by pardoning and by sort of stopping the process, you're also stopping the wheels of justice is simply, again, it's simply wrong.
The Devil's Advocates, weekday afternoons on 1510 AM, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Well, you are listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Ooh, I just felt a trickle down. No, I don't recall doing it.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property, or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
I'm afraid right now for the future of my children's generation and those to come.
In this age of mass school shootings, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker offers the same bold agenda of the National Rifle Association.
Make sure you remember in your thoughts and more importantly in your prayers.
While Walker offers platitudes, he blocks meaningful gun safety legislation.
It's really an honor to work with the NRA, not only in my state, but across the country. And I'm proud of my A+ ranking as a governor.
Walker weakened the gun laws in Wisconsin, and then he got $3.5 million worth of NRA support.
There have been men and women of courage who've been willing to stand up and think more about the future of their children and their grandchildren than they thought about their own futures.
Scott Walker, you are not one of them. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
J.D. Davis Funeral Home, located at 4803 West Burlott Street, is dedicated, dignified, and distinguished in serving you in your time of need. Direct cremation specials starting at a very low cost of $595. That does not include cremation permit or crematory fee. Traditional funeral packages starting at $1,995 with a 20-gauge metal casket included. Title 19, Milwaukee County General Assistance accepted. Call today, 414-444-8300.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. The Lakefront Festival of Art is taking place this weekend on the grounds of the Art Museum in Milwaukee. More than 170 artists will be featured at this year's festival. In addition to the artwork, music from local and regional acts will also be featured, including the Cock Marshall Trio and Abby Jean. The Lakefront Festival of Art started in 1963 and is a fundraiser for Milwaukee's Art Museum. And the Brewers had yesterday off. They get back to work tonight against the Phillies at Miller Park. Outside this afternoon, partly sunny skies and then partly cloudy tonight, lows in the upper 60s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and hot, highs in the low 90s. For Sunday, mostly sunny and hot with highs in the mid 90s. You're listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
Getting better all the time, and turning all against one is an art that's hard to teach. Another clever word sets off an unsuspecting herd, and as you step back in the line, a mob jumps to their feet. Now dance.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. It's Friday. Thank God we got a big one, a big show. Thanks, Ken Vogel. Joining us very shortly will be Wisconsin State Senator Lena Taylor, expecting her call any moment. And then in the 4 o'clock hour, Dem Fight Club, Kelda Royce, Mike McCabe. They're the guinea pigs, Dom. We're going to try something. Do a little scientific experiment right here on the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Wisconsin's choice, Final Four, included Kelda Royce and Mike McCabe. They're going to do a little head-to-head debate right here on Brady today. And then on Tuesday, Juneteenth, that's next Tuesday, June 19th, Malin Mitchell, Kathleen Feinhout, that's the other half of the Final Four. They're going to go in the 3 o'clock hour, 3 to 4, right here on Brady. Dom, you cannot top that.
Well, I got to ask, though. I've seen some of the feedback from our listeners on Facebook. What about the other candidates? Any plan to, get some sort of debate going with the remaining candidates?
What do I look like, the WBA over here? I got some people whining at me earlier today, like, oh, did they have a primary and I didn't notice? And I'm thinking apparently you didn't.
Come on, man. We're just trying to have a conversation here. We got a small studio. I mean, we'll do what we can.
I cannot jam 10 candidates in the studio. You might be forced in the producer's booth during this little debate hour. No, I don't make any apologies. In fact, if you'd like to hold any other sort of form of debate, go buy your own radio station and you do whatever the hell you want to do.
While we wait for Senator Taylor Crudy, we talked about it. Let's continue this conversation. Paul Manafort ordered to jail after witness tampering charges.
Him up! Lock him up!
Lock him up! It's quite amusing, isn't it?
It lightens the spirit on a Friday.
Well, I mean, really, he's the first one that I can recall here of the Trump organization and the Trump campaign that is literally going to be in jail.
No,
right?
Vanderswan already served a month. Already has served and been released
Oh,
and been deported.
he's already done, served, gone,
done his time.
Oh, all right. So second?
He's the second Trumpster. And this one, no conviction yet. He's had his bail canceled for witness tampering.
A federal judge ordered, and this is from the Washington Post, Spencer Sue. A federal judge ordered Manafort to jail on Friday over charges he tampered with witnesses.
Do not pass go, do not collect $200 million?
While out on bail, a major blow for President Trump's former campaign chairman.
Or coffee boy, as Trump would call him.
As he awaits trial on federal conspiracy and money laundering charges next month. Here's a quote from U.S. District Judge Amy Berman Jackson. "You have abused the trust placed in you 6 months ago. The government motion will be granted and the defendant will be detained." The judge said sending Manafort to a cell was, quote, an extraordinarily difficult decision, but said his conduct allegedly contacting witnesses in the case in an effort to get them to lie to investigators left her little choice. Quote, "This is not middle school. I can't take away his cell phone," she said. "If I tell him not to call 56 witnesses, will he call the 57th? She said she should not have to draft a court order spelling out the entire criminal code for him to avoid violations. This hearing is not about politics. It is not about the conduct of the Office of Special Counsel. It is about the defendant's conduct," Jackson said. "I'm concerned you seem to treat these proceedings as another marketing exercise."
You know, we've got some sound from the president, Donald Trump, hashtag not my president, talking about Manafort. You know, Manafort, he feels bad for the man. Hashtag sad. Hashtag bad. Let's play it for the people. Fancy Keith filling in for Fancy Brian. Fancy Keith, if you'd be so kind, play cut 93.
Like Manafort has nothing to do with our campaign. But I feel I feel a little badly about it. They went back 12 years to get things that he did 12 years ago.
Nothing to do with our campaign.
Well, if he was a criminal 12 years ago and you subsequently hired the man.
You hired a criminal.
And you failed to vet him. And in fact, who?
Or did you? Did you know?
That he's the right kind of criminal.
Isn't that the follow-up question that if Trump is saying this, well, you hired him. Did you know of these accusations then?
Do you realize that when Paul Manafort approached Donald Trump and offered his services.
For free.
It was for freezies.
Of course, that's why he took it, because Trump is a cheap bastard.
Do you think that's it? Do you think that the price was just very, very right?
Well, and he was had a great referral source from Putin. I don't know that. I'm just saying.
What about the Michael Cohen? Michael Cohen. Now it's being reported by CNN and others. Michael Cohen on the verge of flipping. ABC News, as recently as yesterday, reported he dismissed his legal team. Apparently, an early tip of the cap that, you know, he wasn't going to need their services.
Or they weren't getting paid.
Well, that's what Fox News was reporting, that Cohen was not paying the defense attorneys. But anyways, Trump had something to say about Michael Cohen. You know, the former fixer, they used to be friends. Play cut 94, if you would, Fancy Keith.
I did nothing wrong. You have to understand. This stuff would have come out a long time ago. I did nothing wrong.
It wasn't me. I did nothing wrong.
But he always liked the guy. Cut 95, if you would, Keith.
I always liked Michael Cohen. I haven't spoken to Michael in a long time.
I always liked Michael. It's like the ending of The Godfather. They tell Michael it wasn't personal. I always liked him. It was just business. As he's getting led away to die.
Leave the gun. Grab the cannolis.
What the hell?
A little bit more Trump, since we've got time, apparently. You know, if you're listening, I know Lena is traveling today. State Senator Lena Taylor. We'd hope she'd join us at 844-967-2789.
Or you could join us and fill in for Lena, 8844-96-PARTY.
But in the interim, let's play more Donald Trump. How about this one? Scott Pruitt, a name we do not say enough.
How is that possible?
The swampiest of the swamp creatures.
God, he's terrible.
He's the most unethical of them all, and perhaps the most beloved by Donald Trump because he's destroying the environment as Trump would have him do so.
Hey, they're breaking records at the EPA.
But somehow, what, for global warming? For pollution levels, particulates in the air? But we don't bash Scott Pruitt nearly enough around here.
There's just never enough time for all the Republican administration bashing.
Did I read something correctly, Dom? Did Scott Pruitt lose Laura Ingraham at the Fox News?
Yesterday, she tweeted out, he's got to go. Yeah, when you lose Laura Ingraham, did you lose the crazy right?
When you lose any of the Fox News sycophants, you have effectively signed your walk-in papers, at least in the Trump administration, or one would think. But let's see what Trump had to say about his buddy, Scott Swamp Creature Pruitt. Cut 96.
I'm looking at Scott, and Scott's done a fantastic job at EPA, but
heck of a job.
You know, we'll make. I'm not happy about certain things.
I'm not happy about certain things. Other things I'm ecstatic about, and what the hell? Doesn't bother me.
Let's keep going. Donald Trump, this time, Trump on Obama. You know, it's Obama's fault that, Russia annexed Crimea?
Weak.
Let's play it. Cut 97.
President Obama lost Crimea.
And let's do one more cut 98, if you would, please.
Putin didn't respect President Obama. President Obama lost Crimea because President Putin didn't respect President Obama, didn't respect our country, and didn't respect Ukraine.
So then Trump, does Putin trust you, and does he respect you? And if so, is the Ukraine getting Crimea back? I'm just wondering how that all works now that, your boss, Putin, maybe he as a sign of respect to you, Trump, that he'll just hand the Crimea back. Because, of course, you are strong. Especially, and you are respected, right?
Well, you know what would really garner Putin's respect? If you let him back in the G8.
Yeah.
Why'd they get booted from the G8? Because they annexed Crimea. Going to take an early break here. Our eagerly anticipated guest, State Senator Lena Taylor. She's on the line. We'll take a break. We'll make time for her. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates right here on Wisconsin's only Resistance Radio, 1510 AM, Waukesha, Milwaukee, 1580 AM, Columbus, Madison. Greatest radio network ever.
Brad Zog, owner of Zero Res Madison, resisting dirty carpets and harsh chemicals. Brad, why should people use Zero Res Madison?
Why wouldn't you clean your carpets like this? We're not using any soaps. We're not using any chemicals. We cost about the same as the other guys. You look at it and you go, where's the downside? You got a completely green clean. That's awesome. We guarantee it. There's no downside.
There's no downside. Use Zero Res. Call Zero Res today. 608-848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
On marijuana, unfortunately, as a public health issue and a public safety issue, I've opposed that.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta, how can medical marijuana help those addicted to opioids?
There's three big things. There's clear consensus now that cannabis can treat pain. That is not an opinion. That is a consensus conclusion by big scientific bodies like the National Academy of Science. We also know that it can help treat the withdrawal symptoms of opioids. People, they don't want to be on them anymore. They want to quit, but they develop the terrible withdrawal symptoms. And now we have evidence that it can actually help heal the part of the brain that is diseased in someone who's an opioid addict. If you had to start from scratch and design a substance to help lead us out of the opioid epidemic, like in a lab, it would probably look very much like cannabis.
Call Governor Scott Walker at 608-266-1212. Tell him good people do smoke marijuana. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
I'm State Representative Jocasta Zamaripa.
And I'm Joel Clayfish.
Listen to us on the Joel and Jocasta Show, Saturdays at 3 p.m.
She's a Latina woman from the inner city of Milwaukee, and I'm a white guy from the suburbs. Diversity in the white guy. You are not going to believe what you hear on this show. I'm telling you, you're going to have to listen. News Talk, 1510 AM, WRRD.
Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call the number on a for sale sign?
Great questions. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you a home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows How can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust. Your agent will best find the home that fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from offer through closing day. And most home listing contracts stipulate that the seller's agent pays for the buyer's commission.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty, 608-284-9311, or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday. Closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
Donna from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
5 your local single-source IT solutions provider, specializing in cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting. We manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Enjoy technology. Enjoy 59s.com.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. If you miss any of this fine program, please go online to domandcroot.com. You can listen to or download interviews and podcasts.
Dominic, we would like to welcome back a guest. She's a fine one indeed, Wisconsin State Senator Lena Taylor, a friend of ours. Lena, welcome back. Been far too long, Senator.
Hi, how are you? It's so good to be back with you.
Thank you, Lena.
Lena, my understanding, you're traveling today. We appreciate you accommodating our schedule, but you're driving through the flatland, somebody told me. Your colleague, Senator Alberta Darling, said recently that the roads are better in Illinois. Lena, can you confirm or deny, do they have the same Scott holes in the highways south of the border?
I just have to tell you, it was smooth sailing when I got across Wisconsin border and got to Illinois, and I haven't had many problems on the street like I see people swerving in and out in Wisconsin on my streets in my community in the 4th Senate District. So I can't speak for what Senator Darling is saying if she's suggesting that Wisconsin roads are better, but if she's saying that Illinois roads are better, I think she might be right, and they didn't even have a budget for a long time, and they might be in a better situation. But, you know, they do have that toll, and they're forever paying tolls in Illinois.
Well, Lena, I believe Alberta Darling was trying to make the point that the road 9094 south from Milwaukee to the state line, it needs improvement, not for FoxCONn, but just because the roads are bad.
That's a bunch of hogwash. The roads need to be done in hometowns, in small communities, in municipalities that have not received shared revenue at levels higher than like 2011, I think, is the last numbers that I was aware of that we were at. And the truth of the matter is, Wisconsinites are spending at least about $1,000 more on repairs to their cars because of issues related to potholes, tires, underbody work, that kind of thing.
And Lena, I don't see any solutions coming from the current governor of the state of Wisconsin. I believe Kelda Royce, Dem gubernatorial candidate, was fact-checked. She claimed and was upheld as being true, about 20% of current expenditures by the DOT is just to pay the interest, you know, the tossing and the scooping, Lena. How do we get ahead of these bills? How do we go out there and actually fix the roads for all of Wisconsin, not just for a foreign corporation and their need in Pleasant Prairie?
Well, there's no question that one of the things that should have never happened was getting rid of the gas tax and the indexing in that regard. We've lost millions of dollars that way. Ironically, the hole or the gap is the same amount that we're kind of short. Under the Governor Walker, under this present administration, we are paying more interest rate, higher rates. He constantly tells people that we have a balanced budget. But if you really dig down in the exact way that you guys have just spoke about, you'll find out that really what's happening is we're paying interest on money that the governor has borrowed, that he has borrowed. And as a result of that, kind of borrowed money even to deal with the basic necessity or expenses that we have now. And that has to change in regards to transportation. We need that gas index. I really believe that we need that back. Most people didn't even notice it when it was different. And even though we have a targeted pool of money for transportation, the truth is that we need to then help our municipalities, because we can't leave it on their backs. And we can't just do something for FoxCONn. It is utterly unacceptable that the governor has given billions of dollars to FoxCONn, and our communities, our everyday citizens are not benefiting from the tax dollars that have gone in, and we're giving it away to a foreign corporation who really has a very bad record when it comes to human rights, when it comes to really following through with the promises that they make.
Folks, you're listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. That's Wisconsin State Senator Lena Taylor. She joins us on the phone. Lena, I'm glad you brought it up. New York Times had an article regarding some information published by the Chinese Labor Watch as it pertains to FoxCONn and their treatment of employees. I want to give you an opportunity to respond to that. What do you think is in store for the U.S. labor force if it's anything like what's going on overseas with FoxCONn?
I think we can also look at what they've done in Indiana. And the experience of what FoxCONn has done in Indiana truly says that they don't have diversity in their force, that they don't treat their employees as if they are exactly what we believe in our workers in Wisconsin, that they're the backbones of our company. They're the reasons that our companies do well. They're our people, and so we invest in our people is, kind of how we believe in what the Wisconsin way is. In Indiana, we've heard not positive things from individuals that have worked there. We've not heard positive things in regards to the hours that individuals have to work, how individuals are laid off, can't get paid sick leave or paid vacation. It really is actually concerning, because these are many things, as a state that is led in workers' rights, these are many things that are truly concerning for us in Wisconsin. In 2012, there was an incident that involved 1,000 workers rioting over conditions. Not in Indiana, but the point is that FoxCONn has had these kinds of issues over and over again. I mean, they even had individuals working who were underage. And so it's very concerning. They had individuals, because of the conditions, commit a suicide at a time that suicide is truly in the public eye, a little more with the high-profile individuals that have passed away extremely unexpectedly, kind of no one really even knowing except those maybe closest to them that they had high amounts of depression. Imagine that suicides were happening, 9 happened in 1 year in 2010 at FoxCONn, and that is scary to me. And so to know that that's what's coming to Wisconsin, I've had maybe 2 conversations with individuals that represent FoxCONn. The promises in regards to doing things to address diversity, not there. There are no plans, it seems, to address that, even in the Walker administration, when epidemic numbers of unemployment exist for African Americans in Wisconsin, when Milwaukee probably is a municipality that will be paying more and has our largest communities of color, and we don't even have a connection, not a transportation connection, not any basis of making sure that individuals get employed. So the human rights concerns, the poor worker conditions, the huge investment in roads, it really says we're investing in FoxCONn and not our people, and I find that concerning.
Lena, apparently FoxCONn closed on the former Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance building today, just a skosh under $15 million, only $4 million more than assessed value on the building. Do you envision that this investment down on Wisconsin Avenue, does that bring some of the jobs to the city of Milwaukee, to your opinion, Lena, are these just the administrative sorts?
My understanding is that it's just the administrative sorts. In addition to that, let me be clear. I'm glad any company puts a headquarters in Milwaukee. That's great. But let me be clear. For the amount of investment that Milwaukeeans will be putting in, and as a municipality that's probably going to be paying the most taxes and putting the most in, that's the least we could get. That's not enough. It's not acceptable that's enough. I want to hear about access to the jobs that will happen in the plant. I want to hear about the terms of transportation plans to get people from Milwaukee to those jobs who need public transportation. I want to hear about that. I don't want someone to make $12, $15 an hour because they keep throwing out $50,000 or $50 an hour or saying all of these, but those are the average amounts. So, if someone is working some low amount at $12 or $15 an hour and they have to pay for transportation to get to that job, then it's about as equivalent maybe to a $10 hour job or a minimum wage job in Milwaukee. So glad to see something going downtown. Still don't hear the answer to the issues of diversity, which is what Milwaukee represents as the largest community of color in the state of Wisconsin. Still don't hear anything about transportation for individuals to get to those jobs or connections to our hiring agencies that are in Milwaukee to make that happen. So I'm sorry, I can't be overly excited about a headquarters.
Wisconsin State Senator Lena Taylor, she's a friend of ours. We thank you so much, Lena, for calling in from the Flatland today. We'll catch up real soon, Senator Taylor.
Thank you so much. I look forward to telling you about what's been happening at Rainbow Push and at the conference that Reverend Jackson is doing. You guys have a great time. We're going to be talking about the midterm elections, and I know you'll want to hear about that next time I'm with you.
All right, Lena, thank you so much.
I'll look forward to it. You can all look forward to Dem Fight Club. Dem Fight Club. It's going to start very quickly. Mike McCabe, Kelda Royce. We're going to put them in the fishbowl here on Brady Street. What are the rules? There's no rules. Oh, there's some rules. We'll explain them. Maybe.
We'll come up with some.
We'll come up with some during the commercial break. More Devil's Advocates Resistance Radio. We'll be right back with Dem Fight Club.
In this hot real estate market, don't pay 5 or 6% commission. With Homeowners Concept Realtors, you pay no more than 3.9% for full service. Homeowners Concept Realtors sell many more homes per year than the average agent. That's experience you can count on. If you're thinking of selling, call 414-258-7778 for an agent that specializes in your area for ideas on price, marketing, and staging your home. The more you know, you'll wisely choose Homeowners Concept 3.9% Realtors. HomeownersConcept.com.
Here at Bounce Milwaukee, we not only want families and friends to build connections, we also want to grow those connections in our community. That's why every Wednesday night from 5 to 8 p.m., we host Refuel the Resistance. It's a great chance to have a drink in our arcade bar, try something from our fantastic restaurant, connect with progressive activists, and support local organizations. For more information about Bounce Milwaukee's Refuel the Resistance, visit us at bouncemilwaukee.com or call 414-312-4357.
You concerned about speaking up at work? Do you feel like you have no say in your day-to-day work routine? Join Teamsters Local 344. Call 414-258-4545. Get a seat at the table. Join your brothers and sisters in negotiating for better wages, hours, and working conditions, and be part of the most powerful union in North America. Teamsters Local 344 covers sales and service throughout Southeast Wisconsin and package and airlines statewide. Contact Teamsters Local 344 at 414-258-4545 or at local344.org.
Looking for a job worth talking about? Teaching is creative, collaborative, and intellectually challenging. See why teachers have better work stories at teachdfw.org and learn more about becoming a teacher. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
5 your local single-source IT solutions provider. Specializing in cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting. We manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Enjoy technology. Enjoy 59s.com.
You are listening to 1510 AM WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 AM WTTN Columbus, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
Immigration heats up. Manafort jailed. I'm Michael Toscano. The White House is trying to undo damage done today to Republican efforts to pass an immigration bill in the House, as we hear from Bob Costantini.
White House aides say the president misspoke when he said he would not sign the moderate immigration bill carefully nurtured along by Speaker of the House Paul Ryan.
I certainly wouldn't sign the more moderate
What does the bill have to have in it?
I need a bill that gives this country tremendous border security. I have to have that.
It's unclear what he meant, but he ended up tweeting, "Any immigration bill must have full funding for the wall and catch and release, visa lottery, and chain migration, and go to merit-based immigration."
Meanwhile, revulsion over current policy taking kids away from parents entering the U.S. illegally seems to be mounting.
A young boy who spoke at a Families Belong Together rally in North Texas said kids at the border are being treated like animals.
We stand to demand that ICE set those children free and reunite them with their families.
Some religious leaders are calling the zero-tolerance policy immoral. Others say it's inhumane. Clayton Neville, Dallas.
President Trump says a law passed by Democrats mandates separating families, while the Democrats point out there is no such law. Meanwhile, Republican Texas Senator John Cornyn is preparing legislation to stop the separation of families. Former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort was led away from a federal courtroom in handcuffs in Washington today and put behind bars, where he'll stay until his trial. Former Trump campaign chairman Evan Perez was in the courtroom.
He was led out of the courtroom by the U.S. Marshals. They came back into the courtroom and gave his wife his wallet, his personal possessions, and now he's going to be sitting in jail at least until he goes on trial here in Washington.
China canceling recent trade deals with the U.S. and slapping stiff tariffs on 545 American products. Retaliation for President Trump today, hitting China with $50 billion in tariffs. On Wall Street, slight losses across the boards, the Dow down. I'm Michael Toscano.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9.
Party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The Resistance is live 7 days a week here on 1510 AM WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Tune in Saturdays for Busted Pencils, fully leaded education talk with Dr. Tim Slecker, 11 a.m. to noon. Then it's the voice of the voiceless, champion of the working class. Earl Ingram's Saturday show is live from 12 to 3 p.m. Then Right Meets Left with the Joel and Joe Costa Show, Republican State Rep Joel Clayfish and Democratic State Rep Joe Costa Zamarupa go toe-to-toe from 3 to 4. Always streaming at newstalk1510am.com, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Defense James Mattis rhetorically playing bad cop to President Trump's good cop on the subject of Russia's Vladimir Putin. General Mattis telling graduates of the U.S. Naval War College in Rhode Island that Russia is out to break up the U.S. and its allies.
Putin seeks to shatter NATO. He aims to diminish the appeal of the Western democratic model and attempts to undermine America's moral authority.
Mattis says Putin is using a new style of war.
His actions are designed not to challenge our arms at this point, but to undercut and compromise our belief in our ideals.
But Mattis also says Putin is playing rough.
For the first time since World War II, Russia has been the nation that has redrawn international borders by force of arms in Georgia and Ukraine, while pursuing veto authority over their neighbors' diplomatic, economic, and security decisions.
No reaction yet from the White House. I'm Michael Toscano.
I'm Jesse Pikeholz with Solidarity Realty. If you're looking for a home in Madison or Dane County, call me. I know Madison. I know homes. I'll protect your best interests. Call Solidarity Realty at 608-284-9311 or search solidarityrealty.com.
Juice, Mom! Juice, juice, juice! Mommy, why are we going to the store? Mom, I want juice! Mom! Juice, juice, juice! Mom!
Your child will have different needs at different stages of life, and that includes the car seat. See, car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. There's good news today for the Democrat running to unseat Glenn Grothman. Dan Cole will get more Democratic Party support for fundraising, training, and organizational support from the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee. The DCCC added Cole to their Red to Blue program. 53 Democrats have now been named to that program. And the World Naked Bike Ride will take place in Madison tomorrow for the 9th year in a row. The event promotes positive body image and alternative forms of transportation. Also, tonight is the Underwear Bike Ride in Milwaukee's River West neighborhood. Riders will meet at North and Bremen at 7. The ride starts at 8, and there's an after party at Company Brewing starting at 10. Outside this afternoon, partly sunny skies and then partly cloudy tonight, lows in the upper 60s. You're listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back. Hour 2 of the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, the eagerly anticipated Dem Fight Club. Dom, we've been joined by two fine Dems live in studio, Kelda Royce and Mike McCabe, both Democratic gubernatorial candidates. Welcome. Fine Dems.
Thank you.
Hey, guys. Hey, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
Well, let's get to it. I'm not one for small talk most days. Guys, I got to start with where Scott Walker started. Scott Walker started with Act 10. Scott Walker dropped a bomb. I'm going to start with you, Kelda, just so we're clear on where I'm asking the question. Let's pretend you only get one bite at the apple. You only get one priority, some weird Norm Coleman circumstance happens. We only get to pass one of your priorities. Kelda, what will it be?
That's an impossible question, but I think the most important thing we can do is change our budget so that it values people instead of special interests. We need to make sure that we're making investments in public education and public schools, and I hear that all over the state. That's the thing that people is at the top of their concern list. We need a budget that values health care. We need a budget that ends mass incarceration and takes us away from the failed policies of the past, and a budget that makes sure people in all parts of the state have the opportunity to succeed. That's why I'm running for governor, because I want to make sure that our budget reflects our priorities in the state and takes care of people.
Kelda, I'm not sure if you entirely answered my question.
I heard education.
Are you? Should we put you down for education, Kelda?
I think you can put me down for education, everything from early childhood through the university. That's the most important thing that the state does for people, and we have to do it for our future.
Mike McCabe, Scott Walker ran on a platform of 250,000 jobs. 7 years later, still hasn't achieved that goal. But of course, he did roll out Act 10. Mike, I got to ask you, is your priority the same as your main message? Obviously a little incongruent. Scott Walker didn't run on Act 10. Similar question to you, Mike. A, what's your priority? And B, does it reflect the message of your campaign? And what is that, sir?
Hey, there's one bill that has to pass, and that's the state budget bill. So you pack that with your priorities, and you fight like crazy to get those priorities. And if a uncooperative legislature sends you something that doesn't reflect those priorities, then you fully use the partial veto authority that governors have to remake that budget and get it back to the bill that you want it to be, so it changes the direction of our state. For me, we got to have a living wage for every worker, health care for all, debt-free education for everyone, high-speed internet everywhere. Budgets reflect priorities, and that's what's going to be reflected in my priorities. And we gotta
create prosperity from the bottom up rather than from the top down. This is about empowering close to 6 million people in the state to do more for themselves and each other.
Sorry to interrupt, but what's priority number one, Michael?
Well, you know that one of the things that I think is front and center is to get a government that actually works for regular people and not just those at the very top. And so for me, it all starts with changing our political culture and challenging the big money game that has a stranglehold on our government and is suffocating our democracy. So I think everything else flows from that, because that's the problem underneath all of our problems. But like I said, there's one bill that has to pass every session, and that's the budget bill. So you have to make sure that budget bill reflects the priorities of the people of Wisconsin and not just some wealthy special interests.
Kelda Royce, Act 10 was Scott Walker's bomb. He dropped it on us. Is it possible, and would you advocate for the repeal of Act 10, or in lieu thereof, how would you restore collective bargaining if that's possible?
Well, I think we do have to restore a voice for workers in the workplace, in the public sector and the private sector. We shouldn't be using our public funds to undercut workers' wages and benefits, and that's what we've seen happen. We've seen our classrooms lose the teachers that are the most experienced thanks to the so-called reforms of Act 10. We've seen our correctional facilities struggle to retain people and become less safe for workers and for incarcerated people because of changes from Act 10. So I do think we need to restore collective bargaining rights for workers. And how we do that is going to depend on a current Supreme Court case that we're waiting to come down, whether or not we'll be able to do that at the state level and pass legislation. But as governor, I am committed to treating my workers fairly and sitting down at the table to talk with our public employees about how they can best serve the people of the state of Wisconsin, because that's my job as governor.
Mike McCabe, similar question. Can you repeal Act 10? Would you advocate for repealing Act 10? And here's one little kicker. If you try to do so, do you think that will activate the Stand With Scott Walker supporters? Do you fear that your advocacy for collective bargaining will be get out the vote mechanism for Republicans?
We have to reverse wage suppression policies across the board. Act 10 is one of those wage suppression policies, but it's only one. We've got to reverse wage suppression policies across the board. I think it's incredibly important also for us to act in a way that is pro-worker and not just pro-union, because only 1 in 10 American workers has union representation. If you take the public sector out of the equation, it's 1 in 15. 6% of American workers have union representation. So one of our goals has got to be getting more people an opportunity to have that union representation, but then also fighting like crazy for policies that are good for workers, whether they're unionized or not. Because that, if we're just pro-union and not pro-worker, that does create an opportunity for divide and conquer politics, to pit one group of working people against other groups of working people. We have to steer clear of that. But you know that I favor repealing Act 10. I haven't made that a secret. That's one of the wage suppression policies that's got to go. But then we've got to look more broadly than that, so that we make sure that what we're doing is good for working people across the board.
Folks, you're listening to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, doing a little dim fight club with two of law when he coordinated with third parties.
You know that when I was running the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign, my belief was that coordination between those outside dark money groups and campaigns was not right, and it was illegal. I always took that position. Unfortunately, we got courts that have come under the control of right-wing interests that have decided to bless that kind of arrangement. It still doesn't make it right. It still doesn't, in my view, make it lawful. But you've got judges that have now, I think, just sort of twisted the law to make this sort of arrangement kosher. And I've spent most of my adult life fighting those kinds of influences and trying to get ourselves a system where regular people have a voice and a seat at the table. I would certainly continue that fight in the governor's office as well. I think the judges have it wrong. I disagreed with the Citizens United decision. I disagreed with the Buckley decision way back in 1976 that said money is speech. I disagree with judges who say that hey, it's not a problem for these outside interest groups to actively coordinate with campaigns and with candidates. All of that takes us to a dark place, as far as I'm concerned, with respect to our democracy. And I've been a a lifelong opponent of that kind of activity. Right now, the judges don't happen to agree with me, but this is something that has to be fought over the long haul. And I think ultimately the people have to prevail.
Kelda, we know, or at least I would characterize it as illegal campaign coordination when Scott Walker was doing it. But as Mike mentioned, the laws have changed and they've been codified, and Scott Walker signed his own get out of jail free card. So now coordination is completely legal, uniquely right here in the state of Wisconsin. So Kelda, the question becomes, if offered assistance from outside groups, understanding that the governor's going to operate under the campaign finance laws. I mean, hell, he was breaking them before he changed them. You know he's going to coordinate. Kelda, will you coordinate if help is offered from third-party groups?
Well, I'm funding my campaign with support from grassroots folks all over Wisconsin and, frankly, all over the country who care about what happens in the Badger State because they grew up here, or they went to school here, or they've got family here. I think Wisconsin has been at the forefront of a conservative takeover effort. We saw what's happening nationally happen in Wisconsin first, with Scott Walker becoming governor. But I don't want to argue about the past. I think we've spent a lot of time cataloging all the ways he's broken the law and all the ways he's failed us. I'm running for governor because I want to build a Wisconsin where everyone has the opportunity to succeed, where we have public financing of campaigns, where we obey good government laws and we have transparency and we restore the Government Accountability Board and ethics, where we subject our political leaders to laws. And if they don't follow them, they can be prosecuted and they should go to jail. I want to have a Wisconsin where the people are in charge and the people get to choose their voter, their politicians, and not the other way around. And when I was in the state assembly, I stood up to my own party's leadership to try to fight for fair maps and independent, nonpartisan redistricting. I've been a longtime board member of Common Cause, working on all these issues, working to stop voter suppression, because ultimately democracy only works when we all get involved, and we have to make sure that our rules reflect that will of the people.
Michael, you've taken a differing tack than any of the other candidates, as far as I'm aware. You've capped individual donations at $200, $1,000 in the cycle. First of all, clarity, is that a primary pledge, or does that work throughout the entire campaign, Michael?
I'm looking at it as something that applies to the whole campaign. And bottom line for me is, and here's where I think Kelda and I see things from a different vantage point. For me, if you play the money game the way Scott Walker plays it, you play to his strengths. You play right into his hands. And you listen to party insiders and establishment politicians, and they say you've got to raise huge money. Well, the Democrats spent $33 million in the last election against Scott Walker, and the time before that, $22 million. The time before that, $12 million. And he gets the exact same percentage every time, every election. And I think it's because if you play that game, he knows how to beat Democrats at that game. And he will every time. I think we beat Scott Walker not with money. He'll have vastly more than anyone. We beat him with ideas, with vision, and with people power. That's what it's going to take. And that's something that he hasn't faced, is an authentically grassroots, people-powered movement. He has faced tens of millions of dollars before. And he knows how to beat that, and he has 3 times. And he gets the same doggone percentage of the vote every single time. And it's like one of the lessons of the Vietnam War, of course, was that if you face a military superpower, you don't go out onto an open battlefield and engage in battle. You head for the jungle. You disappear down back alleys, right? The Viet Cong didn't fight the Vietnam War according to America's blueprint or America's playbook. They used a different strategy, and they prevented a vast military superpower from defeating them. They fought that to a stalemate. I think to try to fight Scott Walker just with the money game that all the consultants and the political professionals insist that has to be played, that plays to his strengths, right into his hands. And we've seen 3 times now what the outcome is. And you know what people call it when you do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result.
Well, Mike, we're going to take our first break, and Kelda, you'll certainly get more opportunities. But let me ask you quickly, my friend Michael McCabe, are you being naive, sir? Because, of course, to get the free speech out there, it costs money.
Yeah, you got to have people out there talking to neighbors, and this has got to be people powered. But I tell you what's naive is playing the game the same way over and over again and expecting to beat Scott Walker by playing to his strengths.
Folks, we are doing Dem Fight Club right here on Friday afternoon on Brady Street. 2 fine candidates, Kelda Royce, Mike McCabe. We'll be right back after this short break.
The sunset, tomorrow it will rise. Time flies by, they all sang along. Time flies by, they all sang along. Time flies by, they all sang along.
Have you outgrown your house? Are you sick of apartment living? Not ready to buy but know you need to move? Hi folks, this is Tom Hartman for CCL Management in Middleton. You should consider moving up to one of the finer rental homes CCL Management represents. Unique houses and condos, always clean, most are pet friendly. Visit cclmanagement.com today to find your new home. CCL Management, Dane County's premier leasing and property management company.
Call CCL Management at 833-0009. That's 833-0009 or visit cclmanagement.com today.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her.
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge.
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve. Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates.
Tom Perez, chair of the Democratic National Committee. Scott Walker went on something of a Twitter storm, very Trumpian. What do you think this foretells for Scott Walker's future as the governor of the state of Wisconsin?
Wisconsinites have woken up. He talked about we need an optimistic message. How can you make people feel optimistic when you take away their health care? How can you make people optimistic when you take away the right to bargain? How can you make people feel optimistic when you're gerrymandering the heck out of districts?
Radio for the 99%.
Jeff's Guitar Clinic is a multifaceted shop offering guitars, amplifiers, and all accessories, guitar lessons for all ages, and instrument repair of the highest quality. Jeff'sGuitar.com.
Wisconsin's doing terribly. The roads are a disaster because they don't have any money to rebuild them. They're borrowing money like crazy. They projected a $1 billion surplus, and it turns out to be a deficit of $2.2 billion. The schools are a disaster. The hospitals and education is a disaster. And when I see Scott Walker with his little motorcycle and puts his helmet on and he gets off and he makes a speech, but he's always riding like, he gets off a bike like he's a big tough guy. Okay, or a little tough guy. Their lobbyists, their special interests, and their donors will start calling. They gave you $1 million to your campaign, and this one gave you $5 million, and this one, you have to do it. You know what he's going to say? Okay, I'll do it.
Mr. Trump, you're using the talking points of the Democrats, and as we all know,
I'm using facts.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Driving means freedom,
exploration,
fun,
pride,
flexibility,
travel,
protection,
friendship,
escape,
independence.
Distracted driving means danger,
recklessness,
irresponsible,
chaos, police, devastation, injury,
tears, death. Safe driving means staying alert and staying alive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
Warning, listening to the Devil's Advocates may expose you to opposing views.
And we are back from the 420 break. Thank you so much for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. We got the Dem debate going on in studio. Kelda Royce and Mike McCabe join us. Thank you so much for sticking around. We're going to do this till the top of the hour. Kelda, I wanted to follow up, and Mike, I'm going to throw this one back at you because I didn't hear a specific yes or no. Talking about the money in politics here and the way Scott Walker has run his campaign. And of course, it is now legal to coordinate with outside third-party issue advocacy groups. There's no law in the state of Wisconsin that would prevent any campaign from doing so. So, Kelda, I know this question was asked, and I didn't hear a yes or no. Would you do so if the opportunity presented itself to you?
Well, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that we win this election because there's a lot at stake. I've been really passionate about campaign finance reform for a long time, and that's why I joined the Board of Common Cause and worked on issues like public financing for campaigns and increased transparency and disclosure. I think that's really important. And I actually agree with Mike that this election is not going to be won based on who raises the most money. I think that what we need is a candidate with a vision for Wisconsin's future. And there is a reason that my campaign has been gathering unprecedented momentum. Every single straw poll that's been held in the recent months, 5 in a row, my campaign has won because people are so ready and excited for a candidate that's talking about the future, that has a vision for where we can go as a state. And at the state Democratic Convention, people had the opportunity to hear from all the candidates, and by a 2-to-1 margin, they selected me over all the other candidates. And I think it's very exciting and encouraging that people are ready to turn the page. And it does take some money to get your message out. We're going to have what we need to get our message out, but what we need more than anything is enthusiasm, and that is what my campaign is showing that we're going to have, not just now, but in November when we beat Scott Walker.
So I'm going to put you down for a yes. Mike McCabe, same question. If the opportunity arises, if it was a Bernie Sanders group's issue advocacy comes in, has a big duffel bag full of money, would you coordinate with them on messaging?
I actually think it would be helpful if they would stay out of it. I really would like all these groups to stay out of it. And let this be between the candidates and the people, and let the voters decide. And as far as convention straw polls and all that kind of stuff goes, if straw polls mattered, Alan Cranston would have become president of the United States.
Well, it's just one indication of support.
He won the national convention straw poll.
Okay, guys, we got a Marquette University poll coming out next week on Wednesday, I believe, 20th. Based on prior criterion for the WBA, according to the last poll, I don't think you would have qualified, Kelda, and you, sir, I don't think would have had enough money. I haven't seen your most recent fundraising totals, but last I heard you
Ye of little faith.
Meet the threshold. Let me ask you, if we see a poll out next week and it doesn't put either of your candidacies in the top 4, well, then are we going to hear differing answers about straw polls and money raised?
Well, I think there's a big difference between a poll and a straw poll, because a poll is measuring have they heard of any of the candidates, and nobody has really started doing any mass communications yet. And so a poll like that is not going to show who's ahead until people have actually started running ads on the radio, putting out mail, until there's been a lot of canvassing and television ads and all that stuff. But a straw poll measures the people who are paying attention and who have looked at all the candidates and heard their messages, who is getting people excited and who do they want to vote for. And so it's an early indicator of the enthusiasm that activists and those who are going to do that door knocking and do those phone calls are backing my candidacy.
Mike McCabe, I'll give you a chance on the other side. Dem Fight Club right here on Friday on Brady. Come back with Kelda Royce, Mike McCabe, and the Devil's Advocates.
This is your first night at Fight Club.
Business. Enjoy technology. Enjoy59s.com.
You're not wired to have a response to this sound. But when we introduce a new stimulus, save the food. We're helping to stop food waste. Save the food. For tips and recipes, visit savethefood.com. Brought to you by NRDC and the Ad Council.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke. I couldn't speak or walk.
This is high blood pressure. Get back on your plan. Go to loweryourhbp.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
I'm Jesse Pica-Holz with Solidarity Realty. If you're looking for a home in Madison or Dane County, call me. I know Madison. I know homes. I'll protect your best interests. Call Solidarity Realty at 608-284-9311 or search solidarityrealty.com.
Here's how you get them. If someone invites you for a cocktail, you bring them beer. If someone invites you to dinner, you bring a casserole. That's how you make friends. That's the Wisconsin way.
J.D. Davis Funeral Home, located at 4803 West Burlott Street, is dedicated, dignified, and distinguished in serving you in your time of need. Direct cremation specials starting at a very low cost of $595. That does not include cremation permit or crematory fee. Traditional funeral packages starting at $1,995 with a 20-gauge metal casket included. Title 19, Milwaukee County General Assistance accepted. Call today, 414-444-8300.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Person who's against these regulations to keep poop out of your water and poison out of your food. If, one of their offspring had a third arm coming out of their forehead.
I would just think that would be awkward. You'd be very top heavy.
But you would be one heck of a football player.
How would they make a helmet?
All you gotta do is cut a hole in the helmet for the hand to come through and you could catch
but then
passes
you're
all over
elbowing
the place.
everybody in the face every time you walk around.
Wear an elbow pad. You'd be fine.
How would you see?
You would be a heck of a football player.
Would you be an arm unicorn?
414 Wisconsin, weekdays, 2 to 3 p.m. For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. Wisconsin State Senator Alberta Darling says Illinois is doing a much better job than Wisconsin of maintaining Interstate 94. Darling is the co-chairwoman of the legislature's Budget Writing Committee. The Finance Committee voted 10-5 yesterday to spend $45 million on Interstate 94 in Racine and Kenosha counties. Some Democrats criticized the plan as just more financial support for FoxCONn, since that stretch of highway runs right past the site of their proposed factory. And Polish Fest is taking place at the Summerfest grounds this weekend. Outside this afternoon, partly sunny skies and then partly cloudy tonight, lows in the upper 60s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and hot, highs in the low 90s. For Sunday, mostly sunny and hot with highs in the mid 90s. You're listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
The Devil's Advocates. Never personal, only politics.
To the Devil's Advocates Dem Fight Club. We got Kelda Royce.
We're not fighting, though. We're here to spread love and hope, and we can do a little dancing, but
Kelda,
I'm not here to fight.
If you're not fighting, you're not doing it right. Mike McCabe, Kelda Royce, and my buddy Dominic want to jump back into the questions. Might work a little wanker sound in this segment as well. Michael, want to give you a quick opportunity on the coordination question. I don't know if you got your full answer out. Any final thoughts?
Well, and you mentioned polls, and to me, the only poll that matters is the one held on August 14th, and then again in November. And broadcasters make a lot of money selling political advertising, and the idea that they're gonna have people on stage just because they've raised the most money is dead wrong. I agree with Kelda there. That shouldn't be the measuring stick, and this is about giving voters an opportunity to hear from us so that they can decide for themselves. And I just don't think these outside dark money groups help in that process. That so much of the advertising is so dismal, and ultimately turns people off to such an extent. We've got to give people a reason to be inspired. We got to give people some hope instead of just trying to build ourselves up by tearing somebody else down.
Kelda, negative campaigning is going to be inevitable. Scott Walker is going to have oodles of dark money, and whether he does it directly or more likely through third-party spending, they're going to point at your prior resume. You were with NARAL Pro-Choice Wisconsin, and he, of course, is backed in by a lot of evangelicals, and they're going to call you abortion loving. They're going to call you lots of ugly things.
They are going to call me a lot of ugly things, as they would do to any candidate. All of us, good people. But they are not going to attack on that, because this is a pro-choice state. And a lot of people don't remember that 4 years ago, Scott Walker looked into the camera and said that abortion was a private decision between a woman and her doctor, and then went on to defund Planned Parenthood and pass all of these horrible anti-choice laws to try to undermine women's access to health care. He does not want to go up against me on that. And, Walker's already attacked all of us. He put up a website, and he's got, all these little catchphrases for each one of us, but he can't figure out how to talk about me. He's got like 8 words or something. He can't figure out how to pin me down. And I think it shows that because I have this very positive, appealing, forward-looking message, I'm talking about my vision for the state of Wisconsin, where everyone has the opportunity to succeed. He's not able to touch that. He can divide and conquer, but he can't beat hope and vision.
Okay, Donald Trump won the state of Wisconsin. Obviously, misogyny played in somewhere in that electoral outcome, I would say. Do you fear misogyny as an opponent in this electoral campaign, Kelda?
I have felt misogyny in every election I've been in, but this year something is different. I have to say, this is the first year that being a woman on the ballot actually is an electoral advantage, that research shows that there's actually an advantage, and especially a Democratic woman going up against a Republican man has a higher generic ballot advantage than just a Democratic man versus a Republican man. And I think that's great. It's long overdue that we started making sure that our leadership and our elected officials reflect the diversity of this country. So I think there's a lot of excitement about the possibility of electing the first woman governor in Wisconsin after 170 years of statehood. And I think it's a big advantage. People are looking to have people who understand their challenges and understand their lives. And being a mom of young kids, I think my commitment to the future is palpable, and people are going to be able to relate to that.
Michael, I've heard it said blue wave. I've heard it said pink wave. I often say that. Either one might leave you feeling a little left out. Let me ask you, Mike McCabe, if this is a truly pink sentiment, a pro-woman electoral cycle, how do you still win the primary? How do you go and beat Scott Walker?
Well, I don't like the idea of counting on waves, because waves are naturally occurring. Whatever happens, we've got to make happen. We can't count on some wave washing over the landscape and fixing everything for us. We got to get out there and convince the people of Wisconsin that we have a better offer for them. I think we still are living in a highly, intensely anti-establishment moment. People are really frustrated with the way the political system works. They feel left out, they feel forgotten, they feel written off and looked down upon. There's a lot of forgotten people living in forgotten places all across the state. That fuels resentment. I've talked to more Trump voters than I can count over this journey. And I'll tell you, there's no two alike. Is there sexism out there? Is there racism out there? Of course. But the common thread that I think unites a lot of those voters is that they were just looking for a Molotov cocktail that they could hurl at the political establishment because they're frustrated. And some of those rural voters in particular, and I come from rural Wisconsin, a lot of those rural voters who did vote for Trump, you got to remember dozens of those rural counties also helped elect and re-elect the nation's first black president. They voted twice for Barack Obama before turning around and voting for Donald Trump. What they're looking for is change in the political system. They want the government to work for them and not just a privileged few at the top. And I think that still is something that is that fire is burning hot all across the state.
Michael, if any of the candidates, Dem gubernatorial candidates, have embraced sort of the mantle of Bernie Sanders, I would say it's been you, sir. And Bernie was not an insider. He certainly had a lot of love and affection here in the state of Wisconsin, won the primary, but it wasn't because he was true blue. Michael, I got to ask you, do you cast yourself outside the quote-unquote Democratic Party? And I've heard it said that you will not necessarily say that I will support whatever Dem should win the primary if it were not you. Michael, do you think you're casting yourself as something other than a true blue Democrat?
Well, I've never belonged to a political party over the course of my life, but I'm running as a Democrat, and so did Bernie Sanders. He ran in the Democratic primaries and caucuses. That's the choice he made. I think that was the responsible choice for him to make. I think it's also the responsible path for me to take. If I ran as an independent or third-party candidate, that just splits the change vote in November and guarantees Scott Walker's reelection. And somebody with my values, somebody who stands where I stand, there's no way you can support Scott Walker. I want a new governor in this state. But I'll tell you this, party insiders and establishment politicians obsess a lot about who's going to endorse whom, and they look for party loyalty pledges. But nobody outside of those party circles gives a darn about that. Nobody asks that question. What they're looking for, they're trying to find somebody they can trust to actually represent them and actually act on their behalf. And I know that party insiders and establishment politicians, they think that these loyalty pledges make it easier to win elections, but I think it actually makes it harder. Because in a state of 6 million people, only a few thousand people actually belong to political parties. Most of the rest of the people, they just don't care about any of this stuff. But the signal that gets sent to them is these people put party over the people every time. They'll put party over everything. And to me, that's a bad message to send. I actually think that the time for endorsements and the time to climb on bandwagons is August 15th. Let the people decide. On August 14th, let the people decide. Let's respect their wishes. And then let's make sure we get a new governor in the state and get a new direction for our state.
Folks, you're listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. The Devil's Advocates debate. Kelda Roys and Mike McCabe join us in studio. No matter who wins the primary, of course, the ultimate person to run against is going to be Scott Walker. And I want to play a cut, Keith, if you would please. Cut number 11. Here's Scott Walker describing, I guess, the state of the Democratic field.
You hear the rhetoric, not just from a candidate here, a candidate there, consistently from the candidates running for governor. I think it's not just they're moving further and further to the left. Their rhetoric is filled with anger and hatred.
Anger and hatred. And Scott Walker has been pounding this drum for weeks and weeks. Kelda, I want to start with you. What's your response? How do you describe the passion that you have for what you're trying to do? Is it anger and hatred?
Of course not, and repetition doesn't make it true. As I travel around the state of Wisconsin, what I hear from people is hope for the future and people being ready to turn the page on all this nastiness and division. People don't want to go back and have us catalog all the things that Walker has done wrong. People are looking for a governor who can lead us into the future, and I represent the future. I'm thinking about not just the next 2 years and 4 years of our state, but how are we going to build an economy and a state that works for everyone 20 and 30 years down the line? How are we going to make sure that our public education system is well funded in every part of the state so that we don't have these devastating rural school closures where we're losing teachers at an alarming rate? How are we going to address the opioid crisis, which is a problem in Milwaukee and it's a problem all over the state? We want a governor who's willing to take on those things, take on the issues like student loan debt reform. And that is a message of hope and of coming together and of caring for one another. Those are the values that I was raised on in Wisconsin, being born in Marshfield and growing up in Taylor County and then later in Dane County. And those are the values that I want my Wisconsin kids to grow up with as well.
Mike McCabe, if it's not anger and hatred, how would you describe your philosophy, your campaign attitude?
One of the things I say everywhere I go, and I've heard Kelda say this too, so I know we agree on this, is that we're not going to beat Scott Walker by simply telling voters over and over again what's wrong with Scott Walker. If you look at my campaign website, there's not a single mention of Scott Walker anywhere on the whole website. This is about making the people of Wisconsin a better offer about what this state has the potential to become and how we get there. We're not going to beat Scott Walker by simply telling voters what's wrong with him. We're going to beat Scott Walker with a forward-looking vision, with a commitment to putting regular people in the driver's seat of our government instead of simply catering to the wealthy and well-connected and privileged few that have been catered to for too long. So he's vulnerable, and I think he knows it. He's trying to find something that'll stick. He throws out that kind of rhetoric, but man, you listen to our message, you look at our websites, you go out and watch us out on the trail. we're talking about what Wisconsin can be. We're not even talking about Scott Walker.
Scott Walker says divide and conquer. Little jump ball team. Who wants this one? How are you going to end this attitude, divide and conquering?
Well, one of the things I said before is we got to be pro-worker, not just pro-union. We got to make sure that our government works for all of us and not just a privileged few. We got to make sure that he doesn't have more opportunities to pit groups of people against other groups of people. He's really good at that.
Kelda, your thoughts quickly?
We got to make sure that everyone has access to health care, everyone has a good wage when they work, everyone has paid family leave and affordable child care, making sure that all people can buy into a secure retirement. These are the kind of fundamental things that we want, not just for some in Wisconsin, not just for the well-connected, but for all people in the state. That's how you stop divide and conquer.
A little Friday Dim Fight Club right here on Brady Street. Kelda Royce, Mike McCabe. The conclusion, the big conclusion, it comes up soon. You better stick around. More of us, Dom and Crute, Kelda, and Mike McCabe. We'll be right back.
Someone yells stop, goes limp, taps out. The fight is over.
Park and Stretch Outpost. Our friendly staff is available 7 days a week to show you a variety of high-quality, local, and national brand pet foods. Be sure to visit our freezer area for a large selection of diets and bones. Park and Scratch Outpost, 5835 West Blue Mound Road. Leashed pets are always welcome. At Bark and Scratch Outpost, we think outside the bag.
Come on down, you will see. We do it naturally. MilwaukeePetFood.com. Bark and Scratch Outpost.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern. Ignacio, what do you got for us today?
Hey, I quit paying attention for like maybe one day, and all hell breaks loose. That goes to show me I got to pay attention every single day to your radio program, or else who knows what'll happen.
If you don't listen to the Devil's Advocates 3 hours every day, Nacho, you're missing a lot.
You got that right. I just learned that today. I turned it on and I'm listening, and you really just rocked my world today. I was just totally blown away.
Save the $2 on tomorrow's paper. Listen to the Devil's Advocates today.
Totally blown away.
Hey folks, sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values, building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
Businesses today thrive and survive with technology. At Five Nines, we provide businesses with the IT tools they need to stay relevant. We offer enterprise-level solutions at competitive prices. I'm Todd Stryker, President and CEO of Five Nines. Let us manage your IT so you can focus on more important things, like running your business. Check us out at fivenines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
I'm afraid right now for the future of my children's generation and those to come.
In this age of mass school shootings, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker offers the same bold agenda of the National Rifle Association.
Make sure you remember in your thoughts and more importantly in your prayers.
While Walker offers platitudes, he blocks meaningful gun safety legislation.
It's really an honor to work with the NRA, not only in my state, but across the country. And I'm Work with the NRA not only in my state but across the country, and I'm proud of my A+ ranking as a governor.
Kelda, I'm going to ask you to go first. How do you combat this sentiment, Scott Walker's embrace of the NRA, and is gun safety a topic that you would embrace and advocate for as part of your candidacy?
Of course. I am a mother, and I realized that my 3-year-old daughter last year had done an active shooter drill in her daycare. And I cannot fathom how we as elected leaders and as adults think it's okay for kids to have to learn how to use their backpacks and hide in classrooms and live with that fear, whether it happens in their school or not. They have to live with that fear because the adults are beholden to the gun manufacturers' lobby because they give a lot of money in politics. I think that's disgusting. It shows a lack of leadership and a lack of imagination. We need to be a state like many others that has responsible gun safety laws that are supported by the vast majority of gun owners because they recognize that rights come with responsibilities. And responsible gun owners want to make sure that their kids are safe in school too. My stepdad was a hunter. My dad was in law enforcement. So I grew up with weapons in our home and they were stored safely. And we need to make sure that people who are domestic abusers don't have their hands on weapons. We need to make sure that there's responsible waiting periods like we used to have so that somebody who's suicidal doesn't get a weapon. We need to have responsible gun safety laws, and we will see our gun deaths go down too, just like other states that have passed responsible laws have seen.
Michael, livable wage. It was at Scott Walker's sole discretion to raise the minimum wage. State law, in fact, reflected the words, the verbiage, livable wage. So Scott Walker simply changed the law. Mike McCabe, if elected governor, what would your attitude be? What would you advocate for the minimum wage in the state of Wisconsin?
Wisconsin's got to have a living wage for every worker, and I favor a $15 an hour minimum wage. I have a plan to phase that in over 5 years. Low wages are a killer for the economy. The right wing has propagandized the population for decades about how boosting wages will kill jobs. It's the exact opposite. Low wages are a killer for the economy because they suppress demand and they inhibit sales. Put more money in the pockets of working people and they'll spend it. They won't take it out of circulation, they'll spend it, and when they spend it, somebody's got to sell what they want to buy. That'll stimulate the economy. It's one of the most powerful things we can do to stimulate our economy. But that's doing it from the bottom up. I talk a lot when I go around the state about what I call geyser economics, because economic prosperity doesn't trickle down, it gushes up. And we've got to empower working people. One of the things we got to do is make sure we've got a living wage for everyone. So here in Wisconsin, we've kept wages as low as federal law allows. Our neighbors to the west and east have substantially boosted their minimum wages, and they're doing better than Wisconsin economically. Minnesota has surged ahead of Wisconsin, and Minnesota substantially boosted its minimum wage. We've got to do an about face in the whole way we go about building a sturdy economy in our state.
Folks are listening to the Devil's Advocates on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Mike McCabe, Kelda Royce. We've got about 4 minutes left. Keith, want to play one cut? Let's talk about the FoxCONn cut number 9.
There's a whole lot of people out there scrambling to try and come up with some reason not to like this. I can tell it's fine, but I think, they can go suck lemons.
Kelda, I want to start with you. Do you like the FoxCONn deal? Or
Number one is the cost. $4.5 billion of our taxpayer money going from every part of the state to one small corner of the state in southeastern Wisconsin, and we don't even know if it's going to be Wisconsin workers and companies getting the benefits. We now know that it's actually Walker's campaign contributors and benefactors that are getting some of these big contracts, so we see the connection there. But people are also concerned about what's going to happen to the water and the environmental impact, the air quality regulations that have been lifted for FoxCONn, and frankly, I had the opportunity to go meet with some homeowners in Racine who are in Mount Pleasant who are being displaced out of their brand new home. It's been declared blighted because the government is abusing its eminent domain power. There is a human cost to FoxCONn for every single family in the state. And Walker didn't take that into consideration because he was so focused on getting a good headline to help his dismal reelection prospects.
Mike McCabe, your thoughts on FoxCONn. 2 minutes left.
Amazing deal for Illinois. They take on none of the cost, and they'll get half of the jobs.
But they'll get our dirty water too.
Right? Crony capitalism and corporate welfare is just no way to build a sturdy economy, and that strategy's been failing us for decades now, and it's going to fail us again. This is going to fail Wisconsin, and here we are at a time where, so far in the 21st century, no state in America has seen its middle class shrink more than Wisconsin. We're dead last in the country in new business startups. We got levels of economic inequality not seen in our state since the Great Depression. And we've been following this approach of trying to shower tax breaks and state subsidies on a few huge corporations or one global conglomerate from Taiwan and hope that they work magic for the rest of us. It's a failed strategy. It's failed us for decades. It's got Wisconsin lagging economically. We got to do an about face on the whole idea of economic development and how we approach it.
Mike McCabe, I can give you 30 seconds. Fix the Scott holes.
Well, for crying out loud, our transportation policy is based on the two worst options imaginable: neglect of basic upkeep and borrowing, heavy borrowing to pay for what we do. We've got to pay as we pave. We've got to be responsible and be willing to fund it. Let's put a few pennies on the gas tax. Let's pay as we go. We can't have a good economy and bad roads. And our kids can't have a good future and heavy debt.
Kelda, like 15 seconds. How do you fix the Scott holes?
Well, we have to make sure that we are paying to pave the roads. I agree. We need to look at the gas tax, and we should look at the vehicles that are actually ruining the roads, these high-capacity commercial vehicles that need to pay their fair share.
Kelda Royce, Mike McCabe, thank you so much. This has been a fun exercise. You guys are both going tonight to the Waukesha Dems Nelson Proxmire dinner. It's a fundraiser. See them there. Come back with us. We are the Devil's Advocates. Thank you so much. Fine Dem gubernatorial candidates.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Having a great time.
In this hot real estate market, don't pay 5 or 6% commission. With Homeowners Concept Realtors, you pay no more than 3.9% for full service. Homeowners Concept Realtors sell many more homes per year than the average agent. That's experience you can count on. If you're thinking of selling, call 414-258-7778 for an agent that specializes in your area for ideas on price, marketing, and staging your home. The more you know, you'll wisely choose Homeowners Concept 3.9% Realtors. HomeownersConcept.com.
Brad Zog, owner of Zero Res Madison. Brad, why should people use Res?
Dig up any of that stuff that's deeper in your carpet that the vacuum doesn't get. We're going to provide that intermediary step before we clean with our empowered water.
Call Zero Res today, 608-848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
Hi, I'm Becky from Bounce Milwaukee, and I want to be the first to invite you to our newest attraction, axe throwing at Fling Milwaukee. Bring your friends, date, co-workers, or family to experience the rush of throwing axes at Milwaukee's first indoor throwing arena. Open 6 days a week for corporate team building, bachelor and bachelorette parties, date night, or just a fun night out. More information at flingmilwaukee.com or 414-312-4357.
What are you waiting for? It's time to join the union. I'm Andy Buck, field representative with the Painters and Allied Trades District Council 7 of Wisconsin. You're already doing the work. You deserve to make a fair wage. You work hard, but your body isn't going to last forever. Cash feels great in your hand, but having health insurance, a safe workplace, and a secure retirement gives you peace of mind. Join the union and make your job your career. Look us up online, Painters and Allied Trades of Wisconsin. If you're a painter, glazer, drywall finisher, start getting paid like it. Join the union.
You are listening to 1510 AM WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 AM WTTN Columbus, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
Immigration bill confusion, health warning expanded. I'm Barbara Cusack. A clarification from the White House about what President Trump said earlier today about immigration measures up for action next week in the House. We're now told that Trump will back either a conservative measure or a compromise moderate immigration bill. Weighing in, Democratic Congressman Luis Gutierrez believes Republicans are simply scared to stand up to the president.
I see them scared of the president's itchy Twitter finger and afraid to stand up to a bully because they're scared of losing their jobs. And I think that's shameful.
A federal judge has revoked bail for former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort, citing newly filed obstruction of justice charges. Correspondent Evan Perez says Manafort has been jailed pending trial.
Sending someone to jail before they've been found guilty, before they've been given a fair trial, is really the unusual way to go in a white-collar case, especially when there's no threats, there's no overt danger to society. But she said that what he did was a harm to the judicial system, essentially, and she said she had no appetite to tolerate it anymore.
The threat of salmonella linked to pre-cut melon has expanded to more states. The latest from correspondent Jim Roop.
The CDC says about 60 people have become sick in this outbreak that began 2 months ago in 5 states in the Midwest and has now spread to 23 states across the country. The source of the contamination is still unknown. The FDA warns not to eat pre-cut watermelon, cantaloupe, and honeydew melon, including any of these in pre-made salads. The list of stores that may be affected is a long one and includes Walmart, Kroger, Sprouts, Costco, and Whole Foods.
China says it will hit back with comparable tariffs on U.S. goods after President Trump said the U.S. will impose tariffs on $50 billion worth of Chinese products. Stocks turned lower, the Dow dropping 85 points, the S&P 500 lost 3, and the Nasdaq was down by 15 points. I'm Barbara Cusack.
You concerned about speaking up at work? Do you feel like you have no say in your day-to-day work routine? Join Teamsters Local 344. Call 414-258-4545. Get a seat at the table. Join your brothers and sisters in negotiating for better wages, hours, and working conditions, and be part of the most powerful union in North America. Teamsters Local 344 covers sales and service throughout Southeast Wisconsin and package and airlines statewide. Contact Teamsters Local 344 at 414-258-4545 or at local344.org.
Tune in to The Resistance, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Start your weekday off with the Earl Ingram Show from 7 to 9 a.m. Next is the Stephanie Miller Show from 9 to 11. Then from 11 to 2, it's the Tom Hartman Program. At 2 o'clock, it's 414 Wisconsin. Then from 3 to 6, it's the Devil's Advocates. Mandatory listening. Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
NASA's record-breaking astronaut is now retiring.
Peggy Whitson, the astronaut who has spent more time off planet Earth than any other American, 665 days over 3 missions, is hanging him up. The 58-year-old biochemist says she's done spending time in space, retiring from NASA after becoming the first woman to command the International Space Station. She did it twice. She also became the oldest woman ever to fly in space. She was the first woman to serve as the administration's chief astronaut and joined NASA as a researcher in 1986, becoming an astronaut a decade later. Her last space flight was last year. I'm John Stolness.
Apple said it's reached a multi-year deal with Oprah Winfrey to create original programs for its streaming service. Apple says the programs will be released worldwide as part of a lineup of original content. The company has yet to launch its service, whose major competitors will include Amazon and Netflix. I'm Barbara Cusack.
5 your local single-source IT solutions provider, specializing in cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting. We manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Enjoy technology. Enjoy 59s.com.
My name is Lola Silvestri, and I'm going to be 95 this year. I was very independent. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
I'm Jesse Pica-Holz with Solidarity Realty. If you're looking for a home in Madison or Dane County, call me. I know Madison. I know homes. I'll protect your best interests. Call Solidarity Realty at 608-284-9311 or search solidarityrealty.com.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. There's good news today for the Democrat running to unseat Glenn Grothman. Dan Cole will get more Democratic Party support for fundraising, training, and organizational support from the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee. The DCCC added Cole to their Red the Blue program. 53 Democrats have now been named to that program. And the World Naked Bike Ride will take place in Madison tomorrow for the 9th year in a row. The event promotes positive body image and alternative forms of transportation. Also, tonight is the underwear bike ride in Milwaukee's River West neighborhood. Riders will meet at North and Bremen at 7. The ride starts at 8, and there's an after party at Company Brewing starting at 10. Outside this afternoon, partly sunny skies and then partly cloudy tonight, lows in the upper 60s. You're listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dom, we are sliding into the 5 o'clock Friday happy hour. It's my favorite happy hour of the week. Tell me, audience, are you not entertained and informed, hopefully a little bit more, about two of the fine Dem gubernatorial candidates? Our thanks to Kelda Royce. Our thanks to Mike McCabe. Thank you both for joining us. And don't forget, this is not the only Dem Fight Club, Dom. We're going to do this again on June 19th, that's next Tuesday. Yeah. Kathleen Beinhout, Malin Mitchell, 3 to 4 p.m. right here in the Brady Street Fishbowl, Dom.
Crudy, any
two candidates enter, one candidate leaves.
Any takeaways from this particular debate?
I was a little disappointed in both candidates in one regard.
What's that?
When you're asked for your legislative priority, there is only one correct answer. Legalize marijuana. How did they leave us hanging like that?
Oh, right. I mean, legalization of marijuana could create up to 16,000 jobs, $200 million in state revenue annually.
New tax revenues.
New tax revenues to the state in tax revenues. And, of course, the impact it would have on our justice system would be positive. And it wouldn't take any money from us, the taxpayers, to convince some people to open up shop and grow some fine herb and sell it to the demand that's already there. Fulfill the demand that is there.
Former Dem gubernatorial candidate Crudy, he'd have gotten that answer right. I guarantee it. 844-967-2789. Less important than my opinion. Someone's eventually going to earn my endorsement, but not during the primaries. I'm going to let it all shake out on its own, Dom. Barely put my thumb on the scale at all.
Hardly at all.
Now, some that have complained, bemoaned, whined about us setting up these two little Dem fight clubs. Our criterion was completely arbitrary, but somewhat targeted towards two things. The Wisconsin's choice Final Four, if you'll note, it was Kelda Royce, Mike McCabe, and then next Tuesday, Juneteenth participants, Kathleen Beinhout and Malin Mitchell. That's their Final Four. If you noted, we incorporated their Final Four into our little Dem Fight Club. But I would point out, Dom, we also did, and I think Kelda referenced it, our own little unscientific straw poll the day this fine candidate got out of the pool. And as I was drying off, Dom, we did a little straw poll on this show. And I would say, if memory serves, the four candidates invited basically also reflects the outcome of the Devil's Advocates unscientific straw poll.
I think you're pretty much right, yes.
And if you don't like the way we stack them up, go buy your own radio station and do it however the hell you want to do it.
Well, I don't know. I mean, this is the first time this goes down. We also have more gauging. As mentioned, the Marquette poll comes out next Wednesday. Charles will come on.
We can reshuffle the deck. We can see what the current polling looks like. But I don't know how we get a fair assessment. I mean, this pool, too many Dems. 10. That's too many. That's too many. To get fair and accurate sampling of and polling, I don't see how it's going to be achieved.
Front by Marquette?
Yeah.
By Charles Franklin?
Not with 650 in the sample. I mean, it's too small. The sample will be too small, and the margins of error with 10 candidates will be too big. So ultimately, the only polling that matters is Devil's Advocates audience members. And they can call us. They can tell us how they thought this little affair went. Was this good radio? I think it was. 844-967-2789.
And we're not biased at all. It's always good radio.
I'm not asking whether or not it's good radio. That I'm just going to put down as a yes.
I'm just telling you it's good radio. But I'd love to hear from the audience.
Excellent radio.
It's also Friday. We air grievances. Any thoughts on the debate? Any grievances you may have? 844-96-PARTY. Crudy, I know you have some grievances.
I got a grievance. Paul Fanlon diving deep into Wisconsin's media ecology. Now, I found this piece at the Cap Times earlier today. This is stunning. You want to know what's wrong with the politics in the state of Wisconsin?
What's wrong with the politics in the state of Wisconsin?
This little article is going to lay it out for you. I'm going to read from it. The winning topics in the most recent round of competition for special research funding at the University of Wisconsin-Madison were nothing if not diverse. Projects included personalizing diabetes prevention and treatment, transforming wood into a renewable electronic material, improving outcomes for incarcerated parents and their children, and establishing a forecast-based disaster preparedness system, among others. All seem like fine projects. But that's not what I want you, the fine audience, to listen to. They were part of the so-called UW 2020 program, designed to stimulate groundbreaking research with grants averaging about $430,000, underwritten by the Wisconsin Alumni Research Foundation. 17 winners in last month's fourth round, 66 in all since the program began. Now, here's one that caught the attention of Paul Fanlon, and mine as well. I'm going to read, starting with a quote from the body of this piece. The 2016 presidential campaign demonstrated the critical role mass media and social media play in American elections, driving themes and messages of campaigns and distributing information and misinformation to the electorate, read the study's overview. This project examines how growing polarization and fragmentation in the Wisconsin media ecology, as reflected in talk radio, local news, political advertising, and social media, contributed to ideological and partisan divides in the state. The narrative then promises to identify the conditions that prompt people to retrench into echo chambers that amplify hyper-partisan messages. Now, Louis Friedland is the professor that put forth this little project, Dom. He is a professor of journalism and mass communications and the principal investigator on the project. He told Paul Fanlon in an interview that the effort began years back when he and other journalism faculty started studying links between media changes and political contention, which escalated with the 2011 fight over labor rights for public employees. That also seems to be our inspiration for this little showdown. We've told people many times, we're getting hushed at a bar on Friday night.
How dare they?
I mean, we celebrate the happy hour with or without the willing participation of the bars. But suddenly we're being hushed. And we decided, we didn't like that. We wanted to continue to have the political discourse that we always have. And we started doing it on the radio. Dom, we chose this, our venue. Now I'm going to jump ahead again. The researchers, again, this study on mass media in the state of Wisconsin on the elections. The researchers are studying more than 8 years of coverage in 15 state newspapers, including the Cap Times and Wisconsin State Journal, as well as coverage in the state's 4 major media markets. We covered 2 of those, Dom: Milwaukee, Madison, Eau Claire, and Green Bay. Social media and talk radio are also important parts of the inquiry, the good Dr. Friedland said. In particular, talk radio has been influential, he said, adding, you can say there is something in the range of 6+ hours a day of right-wing talk radio in every major market in the state, usually on the most powerful AM stations in those markets. Through their research, Friedland and the others hope to map the paths of how political communication works, citing as an example Charlie Sykes, the former right-wing radio host who was an outspoken booster of Scott Walker in the Republican governor's early years. Another quote. one thing affects the other. Let's say Charlie Sykes promoted a certain view of Act 10, Walker's anti-public labor union initiative. It goes out over talk radio. So essentially, Sykes retweets that the unions are filled with thugs, and so many people hear that, adopt that framework, and it gets reinforced for them. When that ripples through social media, it eventually gets picked up by local media as a rumbling in the community and then becomes a news story, Friedland said. He added, I've just given you a simple sketch of one chain of one message. And so really, do you have what in formal academic terms we would call a complex system in which the whole is much greater than the sums of the part? Now, Dom, you help me on this. The overwhelming number of hours in outlets that play right-wing talk radio in the state, righty-whitey talk, it's alive, it's well, it's strong, right here in the state of Wisconsin, Dom.
This is from Paul Fanlon in the Cap Times, diving deep into Wisconsin's media ecology. Crudy, Friedland offered staggering measures of conservative talk radio. 81 stations in the state carry 235 hours of conservative talk daily. This excludes other forms of talk radio, such as Wisconsin Public Radio.
And Resistance Radio, one must assume.
Among them, Sean Hannity, the conservative Fox News host, is carried for 40 hours a day across 13 stations, an average of more than 3 hours per station or radio market. Rush Limbaugh carried for 35 hours by 12 stations, or an average of just under 3 hours per station or market. Some markets, Friedland said, have about 6 hours a day of Hannity and Limbaugh combined. Sykes was technically on one station a day for 3.5 hours, he said, but that one station was a powerful WTMJ, which reached almost every part of the state, so he was extremely influential, Friedland said. So the talk numbers need to be precisely interpreted, and this is part of what we are trying to do with our modeling. Who was on in what markets with what messages? Who did they reach with what effects? The project team includes faculty leaders, graduate students, and others. He said they've been gathering social media, public opinion, news coverage, and other data on Wisconsin since 2010. The team has retrieved millions of tweets about Wisconsin politics, accessed 42 waves of surveys from the Marquette University Law School poll, gathered news content from local newspapers and broadcast outlets, and will incorporate interviews with citizens, reporters, and political elites. Friedland said this is a one-of-a-kind project, one that could produce a series of findings. Quote, this project has never been done to the best of my knowledge, to actually look at all the media in a single state as it relates to political communication over what will, in the end, be about a 10-year period. So that's the first goal, is just to ask ourselves, in this day and age, when state-level politics are so important in shaping many political outcomes, how does political communication actually work at the state level? The UW 2020 project's mission is supporting research that could be groundbreaking. In-depth answers on this one could certainly qualify.
Dom, I'm going to go over a couple of these numbers again. There are 81 in the state of Wisconsin, 81 righty-whitey talk radio stations. And then there's Resistance Radio, 1510 AM, 1580 AM.
Two.
Well, there's two of us.
No,
two stations.
Two stations.
Simulcasting one super dynamic signal. And we've got, about 6 hours of live radio a day right here on Resistance Radio. Live local. Now, if we include Stephanie Miller and Tom Hartman, we've got more than that. But I would point out, when we encourage Democrats to support this little endeavor, we get the equivalent of thoughts and prayers?
Right.
But somehow the state of Wisconsin can sustain 81 right-wing talk radio stations playing 235 hours of conservative talk daily.
A day!
Is there any wonder why we keep losing Democrats? Maybe you should keep listening. This is important stuff. We are the Devil's Advocates. We bring nothing but news you can use. Come back with us. Your grievances welcome. This is a big issue for me. It's my industry. I've chosen to stand up and fight. 844-967-2789. Be an angry liberal. Fight with me.
We'll deal with this tomorrow night.
That's not what I heard Director Comey say.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at zeroresmadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
Donna from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
You wanted to see me?
Yes, please, have a seat. So here's the thing. When this company brought you on, we took a chance on you. You didn't have that 4-year college degree we typically look for.
Right.
But we gave you a shot anyway. And since then, you've worked incredibly hard and given it your all.
Thanks.
You've been an important asset to the team, but I don't think you can be an intern here anymore. We want to hire you.
You're serious?
Absolutely.
Find your next great employee. Introduce yourself to the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
I won't let you down.
I know.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
We got Mark Pocan live via phone. Mark, does Paul Ryan hate poor people?
Oh, he hates poor people and middle-class people. I mean, I think when he was probably 5 years old playing with Play-Doh, trying to, adjust the taxes on Play-Doh. And so, to be fair, I think he's doing what he always said he was going to do. It's just no one actually believed he was either that cruel, evil, or dumb to do it.
The Devil's Advocates, weekday afternoons on 1510 AM, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property, or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
Jeff's Guitar Clinic is a multifaceted shop offering guitars, amplifiers, and all accessories, guitar lessons for all ages, and instrument repair of the highest quality. jeffsguitar.com.
On marijuana, unfortunately, as a public health issue and a public safety issue, I've opposed that.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta, how can medical marijuana help those addicted to opioids?
There's 3 big things. There's clear consensus now that cannabis can treat pain. That is not an opinion. That is a consensus conclusion by big scientific bodies like the National Academy of Science. We also know that it can help treat the withdrawal symptoms of opioids. People, they don't want to be on enemy anymore. They want to quit, but they develop the terrible withdrawal symptoms. And now we have evidence that it can actually help heal the part of the brain that is diseased in someone who's an opioid addict. If you had to start from scratch and design a substance to help lead us out of the opioid epidemic, like in a lab, it would probably look very much like cannabis.
Call Governor Scott Walker at 608-266-1212. Tell him good people do smoke marijuana. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
5 Nines, your local single-source IT solutions provider. Specializing in cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting. We manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Enjoy technology. Enjoy 59s.com.
The Devil's Advocates. Sausage making never looks so good.
We are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Happy Friday. It's a beautiful day, but we're not quite done yet. You can join us here. Your grievances, 844-967-2789.
We heading to the phones now?
Let's do it. Let's get to it. Mark from the SAC, you are up. Happy Friday, Mark. What do you got for us today?
Happy Friday. Yeah, I'm not ready to get down on my knees or make obeisance to Donald Trump either. That he's not. I'm not shocked at all that he said that. I mean, it just.
He was kidding, Mark. It was a joke. You don't understand sarcasm.
I'm not kidding. Well, you better be sitting up straight while you talk to us, Mark. I demand respect.
Respect my authority.
It goes back to our founding principles. Is that they started calling George Washington Your Excellency, and he said I guess he preferred to be called Sir. I mean, it just fits right in the Trump makeup of there. I mean, he likes these strong men.
Well, and I get that, Mark, and that's fine. You can be that kind of person. But what about the rest of the Republicans? What about the rest of the freedom-loving, standing for the flag, hand-over-heart anthem people? I mean, if you're forced to do it at gunpoint, it's really not freedom. You know what I mean?
No,
where's the individual liberty, Republicans?
It's not patriotism if it's forced. Do you have a nation of citizens? Or do you have a nation of slaves? And apparently, he wants to have a nation of slaves like Kim does in North Korea. I mean, that aside from the ruling cadre, I mean, everybody else lives in abject fear of the man. That if you're afraid of running afoul.
Well, and of course, Trump would love that because he loves the strong man. He loves the fact that Kim Jong-un is a real tough guy, and don't let anybody tell you different. Yeah, this guy waxes people who don't stand up if he walks by. He waxes his own family. He used weapons of mass destruction, to kill people.
Yeah, but Trump could go shoot someone on Fifth Avenue, and his supporters would still stand with him as well.
Well, the scary part of it is I think to some extent that might be true. I mean, I think there's some of his supporters would actually would say, well, the guy had looked at him funny in the end. He was afraid, so he had to gun some poor guy down. Maybe I'm wrong, but
here's what the president serves the people. The people don't serve the president. I don't know. I mean, we fought a war against that, Mark, didn't we? I recall something about the Revolutionary War.
I seem to recall that too. I mean, but it just you got it right. I mean, he is the servant of the people. He swore to uphold the Constitution. He is, that if anybody is a servant here, he is the servant of the people and of the Constitution, and he's got to wrap his tiny little pea brain around that thought.
Well, and thanks for the call, Mark. We always appreciate it. Have a great
When
weekend.
He was saying tiny little, I thought he was going to say something other than pea brain.
I mean, listen, Trump's a lost cause. I have no faith that that's ever going to happen. He wants to, he's got his own thing in his head. But what about the rest of the Republicans? What about the independents out there? What about people who are actually citizens of this country that give a damn about how their president acts and speaks and talks? And it's not a joke. He said it was a joke. I don't believe it for a friggin' minute. It was not a joke. Trump would like nothing better than when he walks by that everybody stands up and salutes. Hell, he'd probably rather have a bow.
Respect our authority! And call the Devil's Advocates right now, at least if you want to air some Friday grievances. Now's your time, 844-967-2789. We'll be right back.
I'm Jesse Pica-Holz with Solidarity Realty. If you're looking for a home in Madison or Dane County, call me. I know Madison. I know homes. I'll protect your best interests. Call Solidarity Realty at 608-284-9311 or search solidarityrealty.com.
Every hiring manager knows that a company is only as good as the people it's made from. So where do you find the best people? That may surprise you.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
This is talent worth knowing about.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Looking for a job worth talking about? Teaching is creative, collaborative, and intellectually challenging. See why teachers have better work stories at teachdfw.org and learn more about becoming a teacher. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
You are listening to 1510 AM WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 AM WTTN Columbus, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Brad Zog, owner of Zero Res Madison, resisting dirty carpets and harsh chemicals. Brad, why should people use Zero Res Madison?
Why wouldn't you clean your carpets like this? We're not using any soaps. We're not using any chemicals. We cost about the same as the other guys. You look at it and you go, where's the downside? You got a completely green clean. That's awesome. We guarantee it. There's no downside.
There's no downside. Use Zero Res. Call Zero Res today. 608-848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
Hi, I'm Becky with Bounce Milwaukee, a progressive, local, family-owned entertainment center. We just want to remind you what it's like to be a kid again. Come on in for all ages fun. Bounce in our giant inflatables, race up the rock wall, dominate your friends in laser tag, or just relax in our bar or our massage chairs. Open 6 days a week with extended adult-only weekend hours. Find us at bouncemilwaukee.com.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates.
James Santel, he's a former U.S. attorney. He's our guest live on Brady.
Once again, a pleasure to be with you, gentlemen, to talk about the latest news breaking as we speak.
The FBI raided Michael Cohen, Trump's personal attorney, but once they got there, then they went back and got a more thorough warrant and said, we'll take everything.
My first reaction is you need to teach criminal constitutional law. You've got it just right in terms of the process.
They are kind of a big deal.
This is a really big deal.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. The Lakefront Festival of Art is taking place this weekend on the grounds of the Art Museum in Milwaukee. More than 170 artists will be featured at this year's festival. In addition to the artwork, music from local and regional acts will also be featured, including the Cock Marshall Trio and Abby Jean. The Lakefront Festival of Art started in 1963 and is a fundraiser for Milwaukee's Art Museum. And the Brewers had yesterday off. They get back to work tonight against the Phillies at Miller Park. Outside this afternoon, partly sunny skies and then partly cloudy tonight, lows in the upper 60s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and hot, highs in the low 90s. For Sunday, mostly sunny and hot with highs in the mid 90s. You're listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
The Devil's Advocates, because freedom.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show in the midst of the happy hour on Brady Street. We're always happy up in this locale, Dom. It's beautiful outside. It's Friday afternoon. We got cold ones in our hand. We've had a full slate of fine guests, and there's still time for a little grievance bearing at 844-967-2789. Dom, I wanted to shimmel bash a little bit before we ran out of time today.
Oh, you mean Wisconsin's Attorney General hack Brad Schimmel?
Hack. A damning article at the USA Today Network today. Keegan Kyle, Wisconsin County left 26 rape kits untested when Attorney General Schimmel was the DA. Well, they're talking about Waukesha County, of course, as Waukesha County District Attorney Brad Schimmel allowed at least 26 rape kits to remain untested, adding to the statewide backlog he is now vowing to clear out as Wisconsin Attorney General. In one case, with an untested kit, a 3-year-old girl's parents worried she was molested at a party. In another, a teen reported falling asleep and waking up to a friend raping her. In a third, a homeless mother reported being raped at a motel near a popular shopping center. USA Today Network, Wisconsin, identified the 26 kits by obtaining more than a dozen documents from Waukesha County Police agencies under state open record laws. There are among 86 rape kits left untested in Waukesha County since 2002. And since Schimmel became Attorney General in 2015, he has emphasized during public hearings and media interviews that thousands of untested rape kits had accumulated in police stations and hospitals. They were not piling up in any of the state labs that he oversees, but police officials have attributed hundreds of the backlog kits to local prosecutors' decisions And from 2007 to 2014, Schimmel oversaw some of those cases as Waukesha County's elected district attorney.
The documents obtained by USA Today Network Wisconsin don't name prosecutors who reviewed each case, so it's unclear whether Schimmel made those decisions himself. But as the Attorney General, Schimmel supervised all the prosecutors in the office. He's now in charge of the State Department of Justice, which is using grant money to collect and test thousands of kits from across the state to search for DNA matches that could lead them to rapists or exonerate people accused of assault. In the 3.5 years Schimmel has been Attorney General, crime labs have tested fewer than half of Wisconsin's backlogged kits, and the testing has led to just 2 prosecutions so far. Law enforcement officials made the decision to shelve the majority of the untested Waukesha County rape kits over the years. According to state records, in at least one case, police records show a victim withdrew a complaint 2 days after a suspect was arrested. Of the 26 cases in which police records say Schimmel's office stalled testing, 9 convictions were obtained without rape kit results. In 3 more cases, suspects admitted to the assaults, according to police records. In the remaining 14 cases, police said a suspect was known, a case was dismissed by prosecutors, or the evidence was considered not useful, or the reasons for shelving rape kits were not clearly explained in the records. All but 5 of the 26 kits were collected following invasive medical exams of children. Police records show Waukesha County agencies denied requests for some case records since they involved juveniles. Schimmel has referenced untested rape kits from his days as a Waukesha County prosecutor to show that he understood the problem before becoming Attorney General. He declined to interview requests for this story. In May, Schimmel told WISN host my pal Vicki McKenna only 39 backlog kits now slated for testing came from Waukesha, the 3rd largest county in the state. While he was district attorney there, he developed procedures to address the problem, Schimmel told McKenna. We put in protocols to make sure that kits were getting tested, he said. I knew this. I knew the value of this. State records confirm Waukesha County police agencies left fewer kits on their shelves than agencies in other urban counties after adjusting for population. Brown County, for example, had about 21 kits per 10,000 residents when the state began its project to process untested kits. In Waukesha County, the rate was about 2 kits per 10,000.
He is the boss. Now, whether or not
where does the buck stop? Does the buck stop?
Stops with Schimmel.
Yeah, but he did. You know, these Republicans, nothing is ever their fault. Nothing's ever their issue. Hell, I inherited this from the last Republican Attorney General. You know?
Well, let's not forget their abhorrence of the public sector employeedom. Brad Schimmel just should have hired more staff at the state crime labs.
No, he was saving money, man. That's why you
like we're saving money at the prisons by Act 10 and paying what?
Overtime?
Massive overtime. Millions of dollars worth of overtime. It would be cheaper.
Working the hell out of these people and these
ringing them
guards.
out.
Ringing them out, yes. And then, of course, how do you interact with the inmates when you're strung out for working 80 hours a week?
Well, sometimes in horrible fashion. Sometimes you abuse even juvenile offenders at Lincoln Hills. And we're paying millions. We, the Wisconsin taxpayers, we're paying millions for the crimes, the abuse that happened on Scott Walker's watch. And let's not forget, Scott Walker had never been to Lincoln Hills.
No, they're clear. No, he didn't. And
he has not offered a single pardon.
Lincoln Hills occurred because of Scott Walker's actions.
Well,
right?
Scott Walker did roll out Act 10. That was his choice. Scott Walker did close Ethan Allen, the local place where juvenile offenders had been housed, and moved them all up to Copper Lake, up to Lincoln Hills. And quite frankly, how he does not take any blame for this.
No, it's under a federal investigation. There's still an FBI investigation going on.
Now they've settled. They're going to use less solitary and less, Geneva Convention prohibited pepper spray on children?
The judge ordered them to? But no, does Scott Walker, does he go up there? Is he
accountable
at all?
Is he empathetic? Does he give a damn about those kids?
I don't know. Of course he doesn't. No,
because they're brown kids primarily.
Well, he's a law and order guy, right? Hell, has he ever pardoned anybody?
No, he has not. In fact, our buddy, big conservative, ugly Keith, Not fancy Keith, but big, ugly, conservative Keith.
Mm-hmm.
Know where he got his pardon? Jim Doyle.
Why did he get a pardon?
Well, he had a felony.
Really?
Yeah.
What did he do?
You got to ask him. But his record has been expunged, if I understand correctly. Thank you, Jim Doyle, right?
Right.
The guy that caused the national recession.
Oh, yeah. You know,
prior to
Doyle's
Scott
economy.
Walker.
Yes. It's all Doyle's fault. If it wasn't for Scott Walker, hell, you know, we might not be trailing our neighbors.
I tell you what, let's take a break right now. Where the hell are people, man? They're out
It's
enjoying
outside,
the
man.
sunshine.
It's beautiful out. Can we just shut it down? Can we take the show outside?
We got one more segment.
All
We're
right.
going to do one more segment. We don't mail it in here. We do nothing but the greatest, most dynamic, most informative, most energized.
There is some breaking news on the national level.
Oh, is there?
Oh, yeah. We'll have to get back to that, perhaps.
Oh, I was just going to tell a story or something.
No. This is Trump's political world. And things happen all day, every day. And
you better stick around. There's still
more news.
Still time for a Friday news dump right here on the Devil's Advocates on Resistance Radio. Come back with us. 81 righty-whitey talk stations and 2 super cool Resistance radio stations right here in the state of Wisconsin.
How many hours? 235 hours of conservative talk radio in the state of Wisconsin a day.
You know what? We take the same amount of dynamic radio and we pack it into 3 hours. They need 300 hours to capture what we do in 3 hours each and every day. Dom, Hall of Fame radio.
You're welcome.
Best ever. Come back with us. Running out of expletives and adjectives. More Devil's Advocates on the other side. Your Friday grievances. Help me out, man. I'm sick of working kind of like Dom. 844-967-2789.
I don't stand by anything. I just, you can take it the way you want.
Oh, wow, Mr. Sarcasm.
In this hot real estate market, don't pay 5 or 6% commission. With Homeowners Concept Realtors, you pay no more than 3.9% for full service. Homeowners Concept Realtors sell many more homes per year than the average agent. That's experience you can count on. If you're thinking of selling, call 414-258-7778 for an agent that specializes in your area for ideas on price, marketing, and staging your home. The more you know, you'll wisely choose Homeowners Concept 3.9% Realtors. HomeownersConcept.com.
What are you waiting for? It's time to join the union. I'm Andy Buck, field representative with the Painters and Allied Trades District Council 7 of Wisconsin. You're already doing the work. You deserve to make a fair wage. You work hard, but your body isn't going to last forever. Cash feels great in your hand, but having health insurance, a safe workplace, and a secure retirement gives you peace of mind. Join the union and make your job your career. Look us up online, Painters and Allied Trades of Wisconsin. If you're a painter, glazer, drywall finisher, start getting paid like it. Join the union.
I'm jumping in with my clothes on.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
Ugh, what are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
What are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. It's been a long time since we've had an adventure in the forest.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
You're right. I should get out.
Yeah, the forest is not that far away.
Hey, Mom!
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at zeroresmadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
Do you love public education? Do you want to support your schools? Then you should support the people who make them work. You should support teachers and their unions. Teachers' working conditions are students' learning conditions, and when the school bell rings, it is crucial that teachers do not check their rights at the door. The ability to organize and advocate around issues that improve the quality of a teacher's workplace will increase opportunities for students and make schools safer for everyone. Stand with teachers, stand with WEAC Region 7.
Have you outgrown your house? Are you sick of apartment living? Not ready to buy but know you need to move? Hi, folks. This is Tom Hartman for CCL Management in Middleton. You should consider moving up to one of the finer rental homes CCL Management represents. Unique houses and condos, always clean, most are pet-friendly. Visit cclmanagement.com today to find your new home. CCL Management, Dane County's premier leasing and property management company.
Call CCL Management at 833-0009. That's 833-0009. Or visit cclmanagement.com today.
Hey folks, sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
It's a lot easier to measure how many times students use a semicolon correctly in an essay.
Educated educators talking education.
Than it is to measure how many wonderful ideas are in that essay.
Busted Pencils.
There is no teacher shortage.
With Dr. Tim Slecker.
There is a teacher exit.
Featuring Matt Damon's mom.
You want to know what my mom would say?
We've had an intrusion into education.
Busted Pencils Radio. Saturdays at 11 on Resistance Radio.
You're listening to the radio show your mother warned you about. Tom and Kreutz are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Streaming on the YouTube and Facebook stations, channels, pages. We're on Twitter at Devil Radio. The phone line, talk or text, 844-967-2789. Last segment of the day, so if you get some grievances, now's the time.
Dominic, I get a warm, fuzzy thought for the entire audience.
A warm fuzzy?
A warm fuzzy.
All right, man, lay it on me.
Tonight will be Paul Manafort's first night in the big house.
Yeah?
Manafort's going to the Crowbar Motel, and if he is not considered flipping yet, tonight's going to be a long night for Mr. Manafort. The orange jumpsuit, the
showers.
Don't drop the soap, Paul.
Manafort was led out of the courtroom by security officers. He turned and gave a last look and wave to his wife.
Bye, forever.
Seated in the well of the court. She nodded back at him.
Like, farewell, Paul. Nice knowing ya.
His attorney, Richard Westlane, had urged the judge not to send him to jail, saying that it was not required by law and that doing so will create more challenges for the defense, which already faces trials in 2 courts.
Do you think Paul Manafort will get sold tonight for a couple packs of smokes?
Maybe. What would you do for a pack of cigarettes in the clink?
Or a Klondike bar.
The order to incarcerate Manafort capped a months-long fight over the terms of his bail. He had been asking to post a $10 million bond in 7 months and 7 months of home detention. It was not immediately clear where Manafort would be jailed. The order marked the latest fall for political power broker and confidant of Republican presidents dating to Ronald Reagan. And of course, Donald Trump tweeted out he had to, "Wow, what a tough sentence for Paul Manafort, who has represented Ronald Reagan, Bob Dole, and many other top political people in campaigns.
But I never met him.
Didn't know Manafort was head of the mob. What about Comey and Crooked Hillary and all the others? Very unfair. All the others like you, Trump?" So yeah, first night, we don't know where he's staying, man. Poor guy. Do you feel bad for Paul Manafort?
30 days in the hole.
It's gonna be
I don't feel bad at all.
It's going to be more than 30 days. I mean, if he's got to stay in through trials, he's got 2 trials coming. The first one, like, next month. So, I mean, that could be it.
Dom, I would just tell you this. If the consequence was being thrown in jail, even for one night, or ratting you out, I'd be singing like a canary.
Oh, man. I'd have to do something wrong for you to rat me out, Crudy.
Oh, you and Trump both, I suspect.
Come on.
I know you guys are above reproach, you fine, upstanding gentlemen.
Yes, of course.
But, you know, friends are friends. Jail's for real. And I would not spend any more time in jail than legally necessary to sign my confession or, you know, swear one out against you. Or Trump, as the case may be.
Giuliani's floating pardons might just make this whole thing clean up and go away.
Well, I see he's already walking back his prior statement of pardons, but says it's still within Trump's capability. You know, he still reserves the right to pardon to clean up the mess.
I mean, this has been a pretty crazy week for a crazy presidency. I mean, you gotta look at what's going down. So Manafort's now in jail for witness tampering.
Michael Cohen's giving every indication he's ready to flip on, his former client.
I thought Righty Whitey Radio, the 81 stations here in Wisconsin playing 235 hours of conservative talk radio. I thought they were pushing back on that yesterday on the ABC reporting because it quoted, some anonymous sources. So that's actually happening?
You mean the speculative reporting?
Yes.
There's no there until there was.
Until there is. But again, I guess reporting today, he's getting even closer.
I'm not clear. Dom, we've got callers. Let's get to them. Last opportunity to air grievances on this fine Friday. 844-967-2789. Kate, I believe you're next. Welcome, Kate.
Hi, guys. I'm in favor of bringing Trump and his toadies down as much as the next person, but, sexual assault in prison, it just isn't funny.
Yeah, probably not. But Manafort's done some pretty terrible things, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. And I'm glad to see, for once, the right people going to prison.
How about just okay, let me ask you this, Kate. How about just a regular assault? Not a sexual assault.
Just gets roughed up a little bit by the sisters.
Maybe someone steals his mattress. You know what I mean? I mean, some prison justice, not sexual assault. I agree. I mean, that's not. I'm down with you on that, sister. But what about putting him in his place a little bit?
I hope he goes to a regular prison and not some fancy country club prison.
Yeah, right.
But anyway, I do love what you guys are doing, and thanks a lot.
All right, thank you for the call, Kate. We do appreciate it. Sometimes we get a little flamboyant.
Chastised for a prison rape joke. Right. Guess I had that coming.
Yes, okay. So here we go. Let's just hope someone steals his mattress. You got to steal the mattress. Make him sleep on the concrete. Have him, earn his way to comfortable life in prison. I mean, it's this whole different culture. And since, the Republicans are so down with the incarceration, hell, Manafort should just be right at home.
Do you think he'll get the top bunk?
I'm not sure what the rules are.
No,
I wouldn't.
I suspect he'll be sleeping on the floor. It's going to be a hard night. Not a lot of sleep tonight for your buddy Manafort.
Well, and he's 69 years old. I mean, this is not a young man. I mean, this is not a 20-something going into the can and can ride it out.
You don't envision Manafort going in and beating up the biggest guy in the yard tonight.
Doing push-ups and sit-ups every day, getting out in the yard once, an hour or two a day to bulk up and defend yourself. No, I don't see that at all.
Well, he could look at this as sort of a club bed, go get healthy, go do some exercising, trim a few pounds off.
He does look a little unhealthy. He's kind of pear-shaped.
Well, to make sure Kate's, fear that he might be raped in jail does not come true, he better, lose a few pounds and get a little more agile, Dom, a little quicker.
844-967-2789, Donnie, New Mexico. Welcome to the show, Donnie. What do you got today?
Hello, Donnie. Donnie or Lonnie? Was that Donnie or Lonnie?
You're the only one, man.
Lonnie. Hey, man. Keith had it written down wrong. Our pal Lonnie. What's up, Lonnie?
Hey, what's up, guys? You know what? For Manafort, hey, so what? He goes in a tight end. He's going to come out a wide receiver.
Oh!
That's a good thing.
Kate's not going to think you're funny, Donnie.
Right, man.
I do, but Kate's not going to.
I don't think that this administration's funny. They think that, we're supposed to bow down to them? Don't they know that it's we the people and not the government?
Well, Donnie, I would say this. I don't see a lot of righty empathy for over 2,000 children that have been separated from their parents at the border and thrown in what is effectively kid jail? They're going to build a tent city for juveniles?
Exactly. So, hey, shoot, Bubba going to like him. I hope he end up in the Mexican black ward.
Lonnie, you're taking way too much glee in this.
Well, hey, no, but Lonnie, but isn't he? Listen, his weren't his daughters or his kids' text phones were hacked, and they were apparently the children were what? I mean,
you know where all this money came from? It's blood money. That's what the one daughter said to the other. Dad killed for this money, effectively.
He did, man. When he was working for the Russians, who was supporting the Russian-backed president of Ukraine, I mean, they killed people. There were people protesting. They got shot.
Well, hey, they went out and spent the money. They may have complained about it, but I bet you they weren't complaining when they were spending it.
Yeah, amen, man. Hey, Lonnie, thanks for the call, man. You have a great weekend, my friend. Always appreciate it.
Would you bail me out of jail?
Sure. No, you're not a
$10 million bond.
I'd write a check.
Don't cash it till Monday, but I need the guy now.
Do you take out-of-state post-dated third-party checks? Because I got one of those.
Don, what do you got planned this weekend? I know you are still celebrating your birthday.
It's the birthday month, man. Crudy, you know it's your birthday month, too.
Yeah, but I try to restrain myself to like 24 to 48 hours. You're working on half a week already.
Oh, come on, man. Tonight, going to head down to the Nomad Nacional, man, World Cup party. My lovely wife and her company, Serendipitous Solutions, are putting on this big party with the Nomad. There's music. De La Buena, big band from Milwaukee. We're going to play some world music down there, meeting a bunch of friends. Going to smoke, going to drink, going to have a good old time. I can't wait. I can't wait, man. It's sunny out. It was raining earlier, dude. It's a beautiful day. It's been a hell of a week. Lots of news. Great show. I'm just in a good mood, man. Birthdays all the way around. Yours, my wife's, mine. I mean, I got no complaints today.
Well, don't forget, support our friends, the Waukesha Dems. Governor Martin O'Malley, the headliner, with Jason Ray, Corey Pennybaker, many fine Democrats. They're going to be at the Oconomowoc Community Center starting at about 6 o'clock. Bring your checkbooks and your drinking glasses. And we would like to thank all our fine guests today. They included Kenneth Vogel from the New York Times, Wisconsin State Senator Lena Taylor, and, of course, Dem Fight Club, including Kelda Royce, Mike McCabe, two fine Dem gubernatorial candidates. We'll do it again on Tuesday. Malin Mitchell against Kathleen Beinhout. Have a great weekend, everyone. We'll do it again next week. Super cool light. That's our pledge to you.
Scott Walker thinks Wisconsin should once again hire him as governor.
You wouldn't hire me to be a neurosurgeon.
This is a person who has not worked in the private sector since 1993.
You wouldn't hire me to run condos. You wouldn't